Here it is, another episode of the Infinite Banter podcast. What is going on? My name is Mark Jolliffe, aka DJ Soundwave. Really big episode right here. Hip-hop turns 50 years old. I'm 50. We wanted to set it off like Big Daddy Kane right here and do a special episode. And man, I'm really excited about bringing this one to you guys. I put a lot of work into this one, trying to figure out how do I go about, honoring that 50 years. What do I do? How do I make an episode that has a special feel to it? So what I did was I hit up a couple past guests and see if they'd come back on here and give their thoughts and just kind of wax poetic about their time in the game and reflections on 50 years of hip-hop. There's a lot there. I mean, it's not like, this is just something that came and went. It's still going strong, and a lot of us, depending on how old you are, we're the same age or close to it. So it's been around our whole life. So for us, it's something that's always been here and will be here after we're gone. So I want to definitely get people on here to talk about it. So what I got is Kool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys. He was on one of my first episodes back like in 2019, maybe like in the fall. So if you go back, check out episode 25 or something. I asked him to come back on here and just reflect on his times. I feel like he could definitely give perspective of like the early days and the 80s and going on past that. And he definitely was there for the forefront of it. So I'm really excited to have Kool Rock Ski back on the show today. And also my guy Kool Kim from the UMCs. He was also instrumental on this podcast. He came on in the first months that I was doing this thing. And I was really excited to have him come back on because he's always been a fun dude to talk to. And I haven't had him on since then, but I've been communicating with him ever since for a few years, and I was just like, man, you're a perfect guy to have on here. So he's on here as well. He'll give his thoughts about 50 years of hip-hop and just what his reflections are as well, and there's a lot of fun with him. He definitely he knows how to, jab me a bit. So, we got our own little inside joke with the Vanilla Ice stuff, so stay tuned for that as well. I've also got some past guests that I asked to do a couple memories that they would send in that I could play, and I'm going to play them throughout the show here. So definitely stay tuned. It's a big episode. Got a lot going on in here. I don't want to talk too much. I'd rather just get to it. But as we always do here, we always do a flashback. So instead of doing a flashback of the last episode, let's do a flashback of a past guest that I actually asked this question to earlier in the year. DJ Lord Jazz, Lords of the Underground. He was on the show back in, I want to say, February. And I asked him, like, it's 50 years of hip-hop. What are your reflections on it? And his answer was so great, I had to include it in here. I had to put it in this show because it really sets off what I'm trying to do here. So here's DJ Lord Jazz from an earlier episode of Infinite Banter talking about his reflections on 50 years of hip-hop. Flashback, Infinite Banter, DJ Lord Jazz.
I mean, man, this is a question, man, I damn near can fucking tear up on because, I don't know where I would be if it weren't for hip-hop.
Yeah.
I really don't know. And hip hop has blessed me with, traveling all over the world. Hip hop has introduced me to my wife. I met my wife in France.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like hip hop really means a lot to me, not just the music and the culture, but like it's like my world, man. It's like, man, it really makes me tear up when I think of these things, man, because
it's hard to put into words, right? I mean, it really is.
Yeah. It's tough, man, and it really is. But I'm just grateful and happy that it's still here, it's still vibrant, it's still alive, and I just hope that these kids can broaden their minds and their horizons and really study and learn about their elders, because. Yeah. It's crazy when we go to Europe, man. We have kids, we have 12 and 13-year-old kids that are with their parents at the shows, and sometimes the grandfather.
Oh wow!
I talk with these people after the show, and they'd be like, "Hey, this is my son," and the son would be like, "Hey, this is my son. This is his grandfather."
Generational now.
50
years, you got that now, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they and the grandfather yeah, man, I was at your show when you guys came out here, and I brought my son when he was young, and now look, his son is with it's wow, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. And they really know their hip hop there. So, I want more American hip hoppers to really, dig down deep, man, learn your history about these pioneers, man, the Curtis Blows and the Fat Boys and Run DMC, like learn about these guys
Wow.
because without them, we wouldn't be here.
And if you've not heard that episode with DJ Lord Jazz, I definitely, say go ahead and check that one out. And without overlooking the last episode I did, definitely go check out the most recent episode, Reno RX, talking about his new album, Freebase Pharaoh. And then I also had an Infinite Torture segment of Rhinoceros Funk. We talked about Cruel Jaws. So, as this episode is its own little thing here, definitely don't want to sleep on what I did in the past episode and ones before that. So big shout out to those two guys and shout out to Lord Jazz for that flashback clip right here. And we're going to play some clips from past guests throughout the show here. Because I've asked some of the people who've been on this show to, send me in a couple minutes of some of your earliest memories. And you'll hear a couple of those throughout the show, as well as Kool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys and the one and only Kool Kim from the legendary crew, the UMCs. But I figured maybe I should do a memory myself before we get into the show here. So yeah, I'm almost 50 myself. I'm getting close to that age. It's around the corner. It's not that far away. So I feel like I'm almost as old as this thing has been, right? And I have a lot of early memories. I mean, basically a lot of it started in like 85. So I was like maybe 10 years old when most of my introduction to this started to really happen. And I don't know what my very first memory was, but I have a couple, and I don't know the timeline. But they're all very close together. So when you're a kid, you don't know a day from a week and a week from a month. Like they're all like feel like they happen in one jumbled reflection. So a couple that I'll give real quick here is that I remember my mom had this friend, and by the way, my mom's friend's name is Karen. This is back in the day when Karens are actually cool, and they called you over to hang out and eat pizza, not call the police for barbecuing in the park. It is not cool to be a Karen these days, so shout out to Karen, no doubt. So Karen had a son, I believe his name was Jeremy, that I was kind of hanging out with a little bit. And they invited us over to hang out one night, and they had rented some movies. And one of the movies, and the movie was already playing. Like I came over, they already had it on. And it was Crush Groove, and I remember watching and looking at it. I'm like, what is this? Like, this is crazy, and I was really into it. Like, I couldn't get over how cool it was, and that one definitely caught me. And after watching that movie, I kind of had a feeling like, okay, this is something here. Let me see what this is. Let me find out more about it. Because I'm the kind of person, when I'm into something, I really get into it. I just jump in all the way to try to find out more about it. And I remember I went back to school, and I don't know, in the Chicago public schools, what we used to do was whenever there was like a Friday before a holiday, like if you had the Christmas week off or something, that last day of school would kind of be like a throwaway day. You wouldn't really do too much. The teacher would like have like a pizza party or something where we like order a pizza. And this is like 5th grade for me. So I remember we were in the classroom. We had one of those record players that was in the classroom, but it was for, like educational records or whatever. But this one kid, I'll never forget, his name was Maurice. I remember he had on vinyl The Fat Boys Are Back and the first Run DMC album. And he brought them in there, and he's playing them, and I was like, oh, I remember those guys. They're in that movie, and then he's playing it. And I just remember the cover. I just remember staring at that Fat Boys cover because all 3 of them are on there. They got like a tape measure showing how big they are and stuff. And I was just like, man, all right, what is this? I'm in now. I'm in. Like, what is this? I'm down for this. Those are my first 2 memories of that. And I just remember, eventually getting money and getting on my bike and riding down, I think Clark Street. There's this place called the Record Exchange. And I could remember to this day the first 4 cassette tapes I bought because I didn't buy, there was no CDs yet, and I didn't buy vinyl because I wanted a tape that I could play in my Walkman. The first tape I bought was Run DMC Raising Hell. So that would have been like 86. So maybe after like a year of finding out what hip hop was, I started to get a little cash. And I wanted to buy the records myself. And back in the day, like what they would do is they had them behind glass, and the dude would have to come in with a key, and he would have to like open it, slide the glass over, and grab the tape. Because I was like pointing at it. I was like little too. I could barely even reach. I was like, I want that one. And I remember coming back like a week later when I had like $8 more, and then I would get BC Boys License to Ill, then come back another week, and then I would get Fat Boys Crushin' or LL Cool J Bigger and Deffer. I know those are my first 2 tapes I bought. I just don't remember the exact order, but I know Raising Hell was first. I know that for a fact. And I still have them to this day. I don't have no idea if they still play, but those are my early memories. I just remember like 85, 86, just getting all into it. And the foundation, like those 4 that I just mentioned, like that's kind of where it starts for me. I always have a soft spot in my heart for, Fat Boys, Beasties, Run DMC, LL, like all those crews. It's just, this meant a lot to me as a kid. So enough of me talking. Let's hear some other people talk, and let's get into it. Kool Rock Ski is here. Kool Kim is here. We got some surprises along the way. Hip-hop birthday special. Infinite Banter. Let's get into it. This is the Infinite Banter podcast. You can find it on all platforms. Check us out on social media at Infinite Banter Podcast. YouTube, type in Infinite Banter. Rate and review the show. Do all that. So without further ado, let's get into it. 50 years of hip-hop, the special edition right here. And let's get things started with It's Only Right to Have the One and Only. King from Queens, DMC. He gets on here, he says this, and we get into 50 years of hip-hop.
Yo, what's up? This is me, DMC, the K-I-N-G, the greatest MC in history. And right now, you're listening to Infinite Banter, because we will banter on forever, because this is the only place for all of y'all to ever be. I be Infinite Banter.
You're tuned into the Infinite Banter podcast. I am DJ Soundwave, and right now, during this special 50 Years of Hip Hop episode, I want to bring back past guests to tell their stories and memories of the music and culture. And right now, I'm joined by one of the icons in the game from the legendary crew, the Fat Boys, in the place to be, the one and only Kool Rock Ski. What's up, man?
What's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Man, it's just really an honor to have you on here. You know, I've been doing this thing for like 4 years, and you were like one of my first guests, man. And I grew up on the Fat Boys, and so mad salute. You have no idea how big of a big deal it is for me to have you on back then and have you back on here. So big salute, Kool Rock Ski.
Oh, thanks for having me, bro.
No, without a doubt, man. And yeah, I wanted to get into, it's a special year because, hip hop is reaching 50 years old. And for you yourself, I mean, do you have like an early memory, or what's like the first thing you think of when you think of hip hop music and culture?
I think of just growing up. I'm from Brooklyn, East New York, by the way. So I just think of growing up in Brooklyn and just watching it transform into some. We came from the disco era. My brothers and sisters did. So it's like a lull in the music as far as the street music. So hip hop was making this transition. It was forming. You had cats who was DJing in the streets and in the park jams, and you had a couple of brothers doing like little nursery rhymes here and there. But it wasn't until we started hearing songs like Super Rapping from Flash and Furious 5, and of course Rap Is Delight, Jimmy Spicer's Super Rhymes, and Curtis Blow, the Breaks, and all that stuff like that. And of course the Fatback Band, which probably had the first rap record ever, and we really started, looking at it and taking it seriously. But before then, it was just little things going around. So you knew something was coming. You didn't know what it was, but you knew something was in the air. And us as youngsters running in the streets and having fun, we knew something was there because the James Brown music was kind of like borderline hip hop. He opened the doors for that kind of stuff. So, like I said, it was just so much stuff going on in New York at that time. It was a hotbed for everything. All the culture was right there. You know what I mean? So, just watching it transform to what it is now. 2023 is just unbelievable. That the music is still some of the most popular music throughout the world.
Right, man. And I can't even imagine. I'm in Chicago, so I just wish that I grew up or just could go back in a time machine and just see like the park, like you're talking about, and just cats doing their thing with, the disco records and the break beats. And do you remember like when that all was going off? Because I mean, back then everybody wanted to be a DJ, right? MC wasn't even a thing yet. Did you want turntables before anything else?
No, I didn't want turntables. By the time I met Buff, the Human Beatbox, he had turntables. So he introduced me to turntables. He taught me how to be, how to cut and scratch and all that stuff. But prior to that, it was like you said, it was just cats just bringing out, but they wasn't cutting and scratching. They would let the music play, and then they'd go, they'll blend it in, kind of a blend or whatever. And like say they would play Love Is the Message. They'll play that whole break part. And then when that break part started coming with all the instrumentals again, they'll bring in that break part again. So it wasn't like they was doing all the scratching and cutting. That all came from Grand Wizard Theodore when he started scratching.
Right.
And that translated down to the Bronx. To Brooklyn. So a lot of that stuff wasn't even in the mix when we was coming up. It was just people out. But there was a DJ by the name of Robbie D, who was actually the first DJ we ever saw. And he did a block party. He used to always jam in this park called Skank Park. And Skank Park was right down the block from where we lived at. And people would run down the block saying, yo, Robbie D is jamming in the park. And he'll just come out there and play his music. The cops would come out. They'll monitor everything to let us have our fun, and they'll shut it down after a while. But they'll let us have our fun for a period of time. And Robbie D was just like he was kind of like a DJ Hollywood. So he would say a couple of nursery rhymes on the mic, and people would just be amazed by what he's doing. We're talking like 1977. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So
Dude.
it was, it was unbelievable to see that at that time, and we were amazed by him. Like he would walk down the block. He was a neighborhood guy, and we look at him like he was a celebrity.
Right.
Because Rocky
Yeah.
D,
He's a neighborhood celebrity, big time. And as far as that's concerned, and we know hip hop, it's all about the areas, right? The places you're at. There are different DJs, and then eventually MCs, breakers, all that were synonymous with that borough or with that neighborhood or with that area. And you mentioned, yeah. And so, who are some of the other cats from that area you want to shout out? Were there some other DJs or breakers?
Oh
anything?
man, DJ Bobo. He just took over Brooklyn. DJ Bobo was the hottest DJ in Brooklyn, and next to him was DJ Van DC. So DJ Bobo had MCs and rappers from all over wanting to get down with him, just rock, because he was good at scratching. And he was just, you could walk by his house coming home from school, and you would hear him just practicing and scratching and all that stuff. And he would scratch so hard. I mean, his scratches were hard.
Yeah.
And he put so much energy and force into his scratching. To this day, I never seen nobody with that kind of that scratching ability or that kind of scratching that had so much force inside of it. Except Jam Master Jay. Jam Master Jay had that kind of hard scratching.
Right.
But it was DJ Bobo and DJ Van DC, and they had MCs like Prince Eazy-E, T-Funk, who was down with a group called the Bad Boys, and they had a song out. They had a hit song out as well. They had a brother by the name of Rock D, who was just vicious on the mic. He would just freestyle. And back then, freestyle was unheard of. And this cat was freestyling at the top of his head. He would freestyle about a girl wearing an outfit, and he would break down her whole outfit. I mean, yeah, brother was nice with it.
Yeah.
And
that probably, when you go back to school, right, he probably inspired you to like kick it to the females, right? Like I just heard this verse and this dude at the park. I'm gonna act like it's my game, right? Does that ever happen? Something like that?
Well, yeah, we would do that. But our thing was, I had a friend in junior high school whose brother used to go to the T Connection in Harlem World in the Bronx, and in Harlem World it was a place called Harlem World in Harlem, and T Connection, I think, was in the Bronx. And the Cold Crush 4 used to do their routine. So people would tape them. People would tape their routines, and sometimes they would sell the tapes, and sometimes they'll have the tapes just floating around. So he would bring the tapes to school, and at gym period, we have gym period, and we would sit there and just play the Cold Crush tapes, their routines and all that stuff.
Man.
And that's how we started fighting their routines. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
We just put our own words into it. But it was Cold Crush. It was Fantastic Romantic 5. It was Treacherous 3. And this is like when they were really, really underground. There was no such thing as them making records. This just raw to the core. You know what I mean?
Man, I can't even imagine what it was like to hear those tapes. And those tapes got around, right? I mean, that was the way you heard the music. It wasn't like it was on the radio or anything like that. I mean, those tapes were essential, right, to hear these groups and these crews.
Oh, those tapes were important. Those tapes, they definitely got around. And they would circulate in all of Queens and Bronx and Manhattan, anywhere with cats was listening to hip hop in the streets at that time. We were calling it rhyming at the time. We would just say, yo, they rhyming in the park or they rhyming down the block. We wasn't even calling it rap or hip hop.
Right. I mean, every time I hear stories about it, I mean, there's just so much history and there's so many names and places that, maybe don't get enough recognition or you don't hear their names enough. Like you always know about Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash and Bambaataa and all that, but seeing some of the names you're talking about right now, it's making me want to get on my Google, dude, and check out some of these cats and see, you know what I mean? Like,
and I think the 50th anniversary is exposing these guys now and giving them that exposure, because a lot of people never heard of Fantastic Romantic 5 and they never heard of even the Treacherous 3. Some people never heard of Treacherous.
Isn't that crazy? Man.
Yeah.
That's bonkers, right?
So,
I mean, to think about that. And, sticking on the 3 theme, so you, Mark, and Buff were the Disco 3. And was that kind of like a playoff of like where everybody's got 3 or Fantastic 4 or something like that? There's always a playoff, Furious 5. Like the numbers always in the group. Was that part of the thing?
Well, to be honest with you, we had a group called the Hypnotized 5.
Okay.
And out of the Hypnotized 5, there was 5 MCs, 1 DJ, and 1 beatbox. We went to school with a lot of the other cats, junior high school into high school, but they never wanted to come to practice. So one day we said we're gonna give them an ultimatum: either they come to practice or we just go our separate ways. So They lied to us and said, yeah, we're coming to practice, we're going to be there. They never showed up. So we said, you know what? Let's just keep it as us three. Because we started out as us three. So
Wow.
we're like, well, what we going to call ourselves? And being that me and Mark had elaborate names. At the time, my name was Almighty D Ski. You know what I'm saying?
There it is.
Mark name was Mellow Mark Ski. Buff was DJ Doc Nice. DJ Doc Nice, the original human beatbox. He was calling himself original human beatbox even back then. And so we said, you know, we got these elaborate names, these crazy names. Let's just call ourselves something basic. So we settled on the Disco 3. Now there was a group called the Disco 4 who was out, and we were well aware of them.
Uh-huh.
But like Buff said, until we changed our names. Yeah, but D, it's three of them. It's four of them. It's only three of us. That's how naive we were. You know, they could have easily.
Right.
They could have easily sued us back.
Right. But back then, it's like, sue what, right? I mean, because everybody's just making names. There's no copyrights or anything, right? There's no records out. So I guess it's not really a thing to worry about just yet. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't until our manager changed our name from Disco 3 to Fat Boys, because he said, well, I can't market the name Disco. The name Disco doesn't even exist anymore because Disco has played itself out. So I can't market that name, but I can market the name Fat Boys, and that's how we got the name Fat Boys. I mean, we struggled, we fought to try to keep that Disco 3 name. Even one of the Beastie Boys told me one day, he was so upset when we called ourselves Fat Boys to the Disco 3 because we should have just stayed at Disco 3. And I'm like, man, we fought hard for that, man. Keep that name.
Man, and that name is still pretty cool. And I see you even have T-shirts that say Disco 3 on it. So it's almost like, you know, even though that's not the official name, a lot of old heads like myself, we still kind of think of the Disco 3 as, you know, the name, even though that's not the name most people, you know, associate you guys with.
No, not at all. But that's for the true, real hip-hop fans and the fans of the Fat Boys who know that our first name was Disco 3. And we changed it to Fat Boys. That's why I put down Disco 3 first and Fat Boys, you know. But that was just my idea to let people know this was our name before that. So if people are curious, they can say, well, who's Disco 3? I could break it down for them. For people who don't know that. Yeah. But a lot of people know it, so you know, they rock the shirts. They like, you know, they like rocking the shirts and seeing the name Disco 3 on it, you know.
Was there also a thing, because like once the 70s turned into the 80s, disco kind of became a thing where a lot of people were like here in Chicago, man, there was like a revolt against it. It's crazy to me to think about. Was there part of that involved too? It's like maybe you don't want to use the word disco because it's kind of being passe, or like, you know what I mean? It's not the cool genre anymore. Did that even come into play at all?
Yeah, the thing is, I think disco was an industry. I want to say industry plant, but I think it was a thing where the industry wanted to fill some kind of void or something, and it became this explosion. Now you got to realize a lot of that music was just the same old. Everybody, it was the same tempo.
Right.
How many times can you talk about having going to a party and shaking it down and all this kind of stuff like that? How many different ways you can, but they found different ways to do it. Yeah. I think what happened was I read a story once that the day disco died was when is a lady named Ethel Merman. I don't know if my name
that's a name that I remember that name. It's what is she? She an actress or no way? Who is that?
She's an actress. She's a Broadway star. Okay. And she did a disco song. And by this time, it's kind of like if Joe Biden right now was to put out a rap song. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
How watered down the whole culture would be. And that's what happened with disco. It's like, okay, this is getting outrageous. Now you got a lady from a Broadway musical on a TV show making a disco song. Even James Brown made a disco song. You know, Get Up Off of That Bang was a disco song. Right. So everybody was getting into it. And I think it just got so overwhelming that it just played itself out. And even going to the clubs, you know, my sisters and brothers were going to the clubs back then and dressing with the bell bottoms and the shirts open and all that stuff. So it kind of just played itself out after a while.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, I know Joe Biden doesn't listen, but hey, man, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
That was not an endorsement.
Yeah, exactly.
We already had Rappin' Duke and Rappin' Ronnie and all that stuff back in the 80s. You don't need any more, you know, old white guys trying to do it. No, we're good. So,
right. And see, disco, and see that you say that is that rap could have took a turn for the worse with songs like Rappin' Duke. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And seeing commercials with Fred and Barney rapping.
Oh, right, for Pebbles. Yeah, right.
Right. So it could take a turn for the worse,
Yeah, man. I remember the bird was like the turntable needle, and Barney was scratching
Right,
on it or something.
exactly.
And I was like, "What the hell is
And they was
this?"
kind of dressed like Run DMC. So it could take a turn
Yeah.
for the worse.
And I'm a white dude, so I'm gonna hate on him a little bit here. I mean, it seems like in those commercials and stuff, they always have the same like beat and the way they flow. It's like, nah, nah. Like they haven't evolved.
Right, exactly.
So shout out to those who haven't
It's like
realized.
somebody walking up to me back in the day
Right.
and folding their arms and putting out two fingers and going, "Yo!" I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah, man.
What are you doing?
Yeah, man. It's hard out here when you like when I see family members and stuff and they realize, like, for me growing up, like Crush Crew was like one of my introductions to hip hop, and you guys are Disco 3 in that movie and you see the transformation in there. But like for
Right.
me, like, I telling family members and other people, like, they didn't understand it. This was like 85. They're like, what do you mean you listen to it? There's no guitars, there's no instruments. Like, I don't know what that means. I didn't know that meant
Right.
you had to be music in order to have these things. So I didn't care. So yeah, when they start imitating or mocking it to me, it's like they're doing that same. I'm like, come on, man. It's more intricate than that. Like, here's Rakim, then you shut your mouth because you hear how it's done.
Right, it's way more intricate than that. It's way more deeper than that, and it's like Bruce Springsteen or Michael Jackson putting a song together. It's no different from us trying to put a song together. And when you see stuff like that, and you see somebody mocking it and putting their hat to the side and making these kind of crazy looking faces, you're like, what are you doing? Like, that makes no sense.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you guys are there right in the forefront, and you're doing movies and videos and such. So you're seeing it go from like the parks to stadiums and videos and everything. And you're probably seeing some of that mockery. I don't know how else to word it, where you're just kind of seeing people trying to put their hand in there and take some money out and try to commercialize it and obviously do a horrible job at it. Was that something?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely, once the ball got rolling and once Run DMC pretty much got the ball rolling, and, we followed suit with us and Houdini and LL Cool J and a few others at that time, we started seeing the transformation as far as us doing bigger venues, 20,000 seat arenas. And you're talking at a time where a lot of black radio wasn't really playing hip hop. So a lot of this stuff fell on the young fans who welcomed hip hop with open arms and say, "Yo, this is our culture. This is our music. We're going to rock out with the Fat Boys and Run DMC and Houdini and Nucleus and all these guys. We want to be the ones that take this culture to the next level." So the bottom line is that if it wasn't for the fans just believing in the culture and following the culture and being big fans of the culture, this thing would have never got off the ground because a lot of the arenas didn't want to send it. They was taking a risk.
Right.
So we had to pay extra for insurance money to get inside some of these arenas. But they were sold out everywhere. There were a lot of bets made in the industry that the first hip hop tour was not going to work. There was a lot of bets from record labels saying this is going to be a flop, and they lost a lot of money.
Yeah, right. They look stupid.
They look stupid,
Man,
because
and,
the tour grossed $3.5 million the first tour.
Yeah.
So and this is '84. So you times that now, you're probably looking at maybe like over $100 million that tour gross. You know what I mean? So
without a doubt,
close to $100 million. So yeah, we opened a lot of eyes on the Billboard charts and as far as doing tours, because everybody was hooked. So record labels were signing a lot of acts, but they were signing on the basis of they could be the next Run DMC, they could be the next LL Cool J, they could be the next Fat Boys. And a lot of that stuff didn't work because they didn't know how to market it.
Right.
They was pumping money into it. Some of them wasn't even pumping money into it. They was just rolling the dice and sending it out to stations. And if it worked, then we'll back it with money. And, at the end of the day, you need money to make things work in the music industry.
And I remember when you were on last time, you talked about how the Swatch Watch game had a big part in it too, right? Because they were endorsing you guys.
Right. Swatch Watch. Our manager, Charlie Stetler, he had Swatch Watch and he went out and got Sprite to sponsor the first Fresh Festival tour. Russell Simmons thought it wouldn't be a good idea to have us on the tour because nobody knew us. We only had two songs out. We had Fat Boys and the B-side, we had Put Up Stick. And this is back when we had an A-side and B-side. And so our manager said the group is gaining so much momentum that they can go out and tour on their own and take Swatch Watch and Sprite with them. So Russell changed his mind because, Russell had all the acts. He had Curtis Blow, he had Run DMC, he had LL Cool J, he had Houdini. So it's like kind of like he didn't have us. So, they're on my tour kind of thing. It's like, no, this is the first festival tour. This is not the Russell Simmons tour. You know what I mean?
Right.
So our manager had to put him in check on that part and say, hey, I got the sponsorship. I'm the one that went out got the sponsorship. He buckled down, and we became cool. We became really good friends, us and Run DMC and him. Because it's pretty much, I hate to use this cliche, but it's pretty much it was us against the world kind of thing.
Right.
Because a lot of people wasn't taking this hip hop thing seriously. But when they started looking on the charts and see that we were doing like 40,000 a week, 30,000 a week over here, 60,000 over here, they had to look and say, well, these guys are really doing some numbers.
Right. Oh, money talks. You know that, Kool Rock. As soon as the dollar and the money starts talking, people's like, oh, Sprite and Swatch saw what was happening. Now they had to have foresight to invest initially, but of course on the back end they saw that it really worked out, and I'm sure a lot of other companies like, yo, we can do this too. Well, they didn't say yo, they're like, oh, we could do this too. So then they did it, and then they put their money into it, and there you go. And that's how things started to jump off. And how big is fashion? Is such a big thing, man. I mean, I wear Adidas to this day because of Run DMC and guys like yourselves wearing them on album covers and stuff. How big of it was it for you guys to make sure on the album covers and the videos you had certain outfits on or shoes or whatever? Was that always conscious of you guys too?
Yeah, we came from the era of on our block in Brooklyn. Everybody's wearing the Tigra shirts. If anybody knows what the Tigra shirts are, just think of Lacoste shirts or Izod shirts. But the Tigra shirts was a lot cheaper. If you ever heard the song "Sky's the Limit" by Biggie, he talks about that.
Right.
I'm sewing alligators on my shirts and alligators, something like that. You want to see the inside? I'll see you later. So that's what we were doing back then before we had enough money to start buying different kind of fashion clothes and rocking Nikes and Adidas and all that stuff. But fashion was huge in the hip hop community because you got to look at how guys like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, how they were dressed at the time, and they was wearing all these crazy looking outfits.
Right.
And people laugh at that today, but what they don't know is Flash was catering to the audience they were on tour with. So they were on tour with groups like Funkadelic, Parliament Funkadelic, and Rick James. So, and you know how they dress. So Flash and Furious Five had to dress like the crowd. When Run DMC came out, it was just sneakers and jeans or the fedora hats and all that stuff. And he was wearing the sneakers and jeans, that kind of stuff. So we was dressing like the streets, like the kids in the streets. So that's why they took an extra liking to us, because they're like, oh, they're dressing, they wearing Adidas like me, they're wearing Nikes like me, they got on Levi's like me, that kind of stuff. And the jewelry came in. I want to say it was, you could look at it in two ways. Did the hustlers in the streets influence hip hop, or did hip hop influence the hustlers in the streets? I don't know which came first. I do know that we was wearing the jewelry because that's what you do when you get a little money. You start wearing jewelry. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There it is.
And the jewelry gets bigger and bigger. So it was more like a competition between the hustlers in the streets and the rap, who could wear the biggest chain. But the thing about our jewelry was it was part of the ensemble. It was part of our attire on stage. But we didn't wear it just to be wearing it. We wore it because that's what people started knowing us for.
Right. And it's part of the identity. Even if it was really who you were, it wasn't like your front or anything, but have it on there, it just meant more.
Right.
And I can't, like I said, as a kid, seeing that stuff, like I knew, I was like 10 years old. I'm like, Mom, I want some Adidas. And she's like, well, how much are they? I'm like, I don't know. I just want them. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I just want
them. And it's like everybody at school had fat laces and everything. And, you were a sucker if you had some wax shoes in the day, man. And I see all these. I'm telling you, man, I see all these kids wearing Jordan 1s and everything. And it's like, man, you have no idea what it was like to get those in 85 and 86. But
I had no idea.
Everybody's got them now.
I just did an interview last week. I was in Miami, and I talked about buying the Jordans ones, the red and black ones. Yeah. And I remember buying them and trying them on, and they felt like I was walking on rocks. And I'm like, oh man, the soles, the soles in these sneakers are horrible.
Yeah.
So I put them back in the box. I didn't even wear them outside. I put them back in the box. But hindsight is 20/20 with everything you do in life past a certain age. And had I known then what I knew now, I would have went to Jordan and say, hey, can you sign these sneakers for me? I'm not going to wear these damn things again. I was telling my girl it would have been worth at least damn near $1.5 million right
Right?
now.
And Jordan even said in the Last Dance documentary, I don't know if you got to see, but he said his feet were bleeding when he was wearing those things. Like he didn't feel
Oh, they
comfortable.
were horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
and
were hard. I don't know how basketball players even wore Converse back then. Those were hard to
man,
run in.
yeah, you do a quick break, I feel like you bust out the ankle or something. I never liked those shoes.
Man.
No, man.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. Man. But before I let you go, I wanted to bring up a couple other things too with you here. The elements of hip hop are so big, and I feel like the Fat Boys really did a great job of trying to make sure that, Buffy Human Beatbox is a big element of what you guys put on Wax. And of course, MCing with you and Mark, and you guys even had DJing and everything in there. I mean, just talk about how important it was for you guys to always have those elements involved with the music you guys are putting out.
Buff being a huge part of the group, being 50% of the success of, easily, without a doubt. Because nobody never seen anything like that. Nobody never seen nothing. I mean, we came up with a stickum as far as just having the acapella version of it. It just blew people away. And I always say to this day, Buff, Dougie Fresh, Biz Markie, may he rest in peace, Rozelle, Human Jockbox, these guys, they made a lane for themselves. They made a huge lane for themselves, and they put themselves in the 5 elements, which is like the 6th element of hip hop right now, because beatboxing, it transferred over to people in high schools and junior high schools doing it. When they couldn't bang on the tables, they started getting the beatbox. Somebody do the beatbox for them. So they were a huge influence on the hip hop culture. And like I said, Buff is just, I'm trying to put together the Human Beatbox Day, and have a day just for Buff.
That would be great.
Definitely. So June 10th is going to be Human Beatbox Day. So I'm pushing to put that out there. But yeah, Buff and even the DJ, you have DJs like Grandmaster D. Houdini and Jam Master J, DJ, Jazzy Jeff, the list goes on and on.
Right.
These guys just played a huge part. They played the biggest, in some cases, the biggest part of this hip hop culture. What would the rapper be without the DJ? You know what I'm saying? So the DJ enhances the rapper and makes him better. In a lot of cases.
Yeah, it goes back to what you said at the very beginning, man. It was all about the DJs in the park. So, I mean, that's the start of it. So you can't overlook that and forget the foundation, right?
Right. You can't. And I see these new wave of rappers now, they're kind of excluding the DJ. They don't even have DJs on stage with them anymore. And those who do have DJs, he's just there as a prop almost. And I'm like, that's not cool. You gotta have a segment where the DJ just gets loose like we did back in the day. The DJ Jazzy Jeff would just get loose in the turntable. Jam Master J would just get loose. We even had Buff get loose in the beatbox. So,
right.
We don't want to lose the intricate parts of this hip hop culture and who built it up. Whether it be the rapper, the DJ, the beatbox, the breakdancing, the graffiti. We don't want to lose that. You know what I'm saying? But I think every day we're getting away from it.
Right.
Because I think the new crop of entertainers that's coming along, they don't abide by those rules anymore. They just rapping just to be rapping.
Right.
And a lot of the content has no meaning to it.
Yeah.
And they think that's what it's about, but it's not about that. They have to do some studying on this culture. They got to do their homework on the culture.
Man, and that was going to be my next question. I was going to leave you with, where you see hip hop now, and it sounds like you kind of got a good handle of where it is. That's basically what it looks like, right? It's a lot of the young cats. They didn't grow up with it the way you did and others grew up with it, so they look at it differently, and they didn't grow up on a stage before putting out a record. It's more putting out a song, and I don't know how these cats are if they're on stage, because I don't know. They've never been on a stage. They wouldn't know how to do that, and no disrespect.
It needs more guidance, put it like that. It needs more guidance. It needs more people to pull them to the side, like OGs or whatever, and tell them this is what it's about. This is how you conduct yourself in interviews and in the streets or whatever you're doing. You're a professional now. People know who you are now. You're a household name. You can't just go around all willy-nilly and just think you can do what you want. That's not going to happen anymore. But it just has to be. It just has to come to a point where everybody's on the same page within hip hop. And you mentioned that a lot of these guys don't know, but I knew about James Brown. I knew about Otis Redding. I knew about Parliament Funkadelic. I had to look, I studied this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I studied the music and all that stuff. Studied their performances and all that stuff. So these guys have YouTube now, where they can go on YouTube and find a lot of
no excuses,
stuff.
Right?
There's no excuses at all. So. And I'm not even trying to come down on them.
No,
I'm just trying to keep the culture, keep the culture as what it is, which is just pure hip hop and rap, And some of these guys, their version of hip hop is totally different from what I know it to be. You know what I mean?
No doubt. A lot of people out there listening haven't heard that track you and Cocaine did called Hush. And what I love about it is like a lot of new cats probably didn't know Kool Rock Ski could flow like that. They didn't know, And I'm sure when you put that song out, you were probably knowing there's going to be a whole generation of people who are listening to this who had never heard you before. And it's got to be pretty cool to do that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely cool to do that because I read a lot of the comments. And I was telling Cocaine, I was reading the comments on his YouTube page about the song. And this wasn't even a thing where they were feeding his ego or feeding my ego. They was coming from the heart. And we got at least about 15 to 20 hit songs out. And I go on YouTube every now and then, just look at the comments. I've never seen comments so positive from that one song. Thinking all of the songs we ever did is the fact. It's like everybody's like, this song is dope. I blast this song in my car every day. It's good to see Kool Rock Ski back. Cocaine, you a legend, this and that. So it's just been nothing but positive comments coming from that one particular song. And, it's good to rock out with a brother like Cocaine because he knows about, we're only like one age apart. So he knows what hip hop is all about. You know what I mean?
True
so
indeed.
He gave me the track and I'm like, yeah, this is right up my alley. I don't have to go out of bounds.
There you go.
This is like, I don't have to sound kind of new age or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with sounding new age, but it's like I tell a lot of my peers from the old school when I say, stick to what you've been doing. Because if you do something out the box, they're going to say you're trying to sound like this. But if you do something that you're used to, they're going to say, oh, that's old style. So why not just stick to what you've been doing, period? Just be you. Don't try to transform yourself into something different and become some kind of overnight mumble rapper because it's not going to work for you.
No. Man, that's a good way to leave it, man, because I feel like that's what the Fat Boys did. I mean, it says it in the name. You guys are being yourselves. Be you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure not a day goes by you don't think about Mark and Buff, man, and, all of his fans.
Oh, every day.
Every
day. I got so many stories, man. And we're working with Mark Wahlberg right now, and we're putting together the Fat Boys documentary. So we're going to have that out pretty soon.
Man, that's amazing news to hear, man, because there's so many stories people need to hear about you guys, and I feel like the legendary status you guys achieved, and you guys need to get your props, and all three of you guys just met so much of so many of us growing up, so that's why it was so important for me to get you on here for this 50-year anniversary, man, and Kool Rock, man, I can't wait to see this documentary and talk about, the day, and was it June 10th, right, for Beatbox Day, and
yeah, I'm pushing hard for that.
Is that Buff's birthday? Is that June 10th?
That's Buff's birthday.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
And also we're pushing hard for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All this stuff I'm doing because the two members are no longer here. It's like
right.
I'm telling people that's working with me, I wouldn't be so diligent in pushing this kind of stuff if they were still here. I'm like, well, they're gonna have to do it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But being that they're no longer here to tell their story, I want to get it out.
Man. And you're doing a great job holding that legacy up, man. And, Kool Rock, big salute. I'm putting a hand to my forehead here. Big salute to you, man, and the Fat Boys. And, rest in peace to Prince Marky D and Human Beatbox, Buff Love. And, man, just big honor having you on here, dude, and sharing stories about 50 years of hip-hop and, of course, how much of it you were involved with the culture in the past, present, and in the future, man. So big up.
No problem, bro. Anytime.
I got you. Thanks, Kool Rock.
All right, bro. Salute, bro. No problem.
All right, man. Stay up, dude. I'll talk to you.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace. Big salute to Kool Rock Ski of the legendary Fat Boys. Can't thank him enough for coming on and just hearing about those early days. And speaking of talking about those early days, my guy, Musik G from the Underground Army, he's been on the show a few times. Well, he's got some memories here that he sent in, and I want to play that right now. Here's Musik G reflecting on 50 years of hip-hop on the Infinite Banter podcast. What's up, Musik G?
One of my earliest memories of hip-hop, I would say, is Cold Crush tapes. We had a Cold Crush tape in my house, and we had another tape from a DJ that was cutting up in my neighborhood, and that was played so much that it popped, but somebody had actually, they didn't tape it together, they actually used some type of sewing, like they sewed the tape back together. And I always remember that because when it got to a certain part, it would jumble up around that one part. So that is one thing that I remember. Another thing I remember was in 4th grade when Rapper's Delight came out and they was playing it on the school bus and everybody knew it. And if you didn't learn those lyrics, then everybody was looking at you like you was whack. So everybody had to learn the Rapper's Delight lyrics, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are like the 2, maybe 3 things that I remember, early hip-hop memories. Also remember my brother coming home and saying that, yo, somebody told him this dance is called floor rocking, and he showed me that in the room.
What up, what up? It's your man Money B from Digital Underground, Raw Fusion, and Money B and Young Hump representing that Bay all day. And of course, I cool out and I'm rocking with Infinite Banter, if you didn't know. Boom.
You're tuned into the Infinite Banter podcast. I'm DJ Soundwave, and right now, during this special 50 Years of Hip Hop episode, I wanted to bring back past guests to tell their stories and memories of music and the culture. And right now, I'm joined by one of the icons in the game from the legendary crew, the UMCs. You also know him as NY Oil, the one and only Kool Kim. What's up, man?
Yo, what's up, bro? How you feeling, King?
Man, I'm feeling good. I hate to disappoint you. Vanilla Ice is busy. He didn't return my call, so it's just you and I here.
No. Actually, he did. He contacted me, asked me about you. He said, I know somebody named Mark. I'm like, yeah, I know, boy. And he said, is he really a fan? And I was like, yeah, son he's got a Vanilla Ice doll, statuette, and everything.
Yeah, right,
He showed it to me on my last. He showed me on the last time I was on the podcast. There it is.
Oh, that's DMC. Wrong one. Wrong hip hop doll. The Vanilla Ice one has needles in it and shit because it's like a voodoo doll. I'm trying to.
Are you doing them like that? Hitting him with the voodoo?
Yeah, I'm trying to mess up his leg, give him a hamstring problem. Trying to mess up his dance moves.
I know that's right. But shout out to Vanilla Ice, man, because you know what? Even though we tease about it and tease about liking him and like that, again, the 50 years of hip hop, right, is what we're going to talk about today, right? Vanilla Ice is a part of what made hip hop more palatable and I guess I would say manageable for a larger audience. You know what I'm saying? That's not a small feat. And whether what he like, because a lot of times, all right, so I harken back to like Sammy Davis Jr. And because he was a member of the Rat Pack, de facto type of thing, in some circles he was looked at as a sellout. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that, can you imagine humiliation and the disrespect and all the stuff that Sammy Davis Jr. had to experience as a Jewish black male who was nothing like, 5 foot nothing,
right?
And slightly built, and even though he was mega talented, could you imagine the slings and the arrows of insults and the things that he had to experience in them times for that in the now? Cats can have damn near 10 years in Las Vegas hotels, and it's because of that man who had to go in through the back and change in the kitchen and be at the with the janitors and stuff like that in order to be it before he could come in and perform for crowds of white men and women who like to hear him perform but didn't care for him to be able to eat beside him or sit beside him.
Right.
And so sometimes, it's one thing to jest about it, right? But when we're seriously talking about hip hop 50, what's his name? Eric Van Winkle?
I think it's Robert. So you're gonna make it look like I'm a big fan and know everything about him. Yeah, Robert.
I know you was going to know about me before. King, that's your man. Robert Van Winkle, a.k.a. Vanilla Ice,
right,
deserves the seat in the pantheon of hip-hop because he helped to further the cause of this music and this culture, regardless to what. He has a place in this. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to be putting him on the top 5 list and no top 100 list.
Right.
But we can at least acknowledge his contribution to the music and the fact that he's one of the highest grossing acts of his time, which again, rising tide lift all boats, and he did lift the boats higher for everybody. Even the most hardcore, the chorus of hardcore, got a little extra eyes on him because of the work that he did. So salute to Robert Van Winkle, a.k.a. Vanilla Ice, a.k.a. your favorite MC.
I was waiting for that arrow to hit me. All right, I was ducking a couple, and letting you just keep pulling out.
That's
those.
a shame just about your man's like that. I will say that. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but it does hurt a little bit to hear you just turn your back from him, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's a white thing, man. It's white and white crime, I guess. It's just like I don't know how to put it, Kool Kim. So you were talking about the 50 years. I mean, back when I was a kid, man, I was like, what year did that dude come out? 89, 90? I was like in high school. So I'm trying to like prove myself. And then this dude comes out. And it's like,
So let me ask you this. Now that leads to an interesting question. You know what I'm saying? You know, all right, as a young white kid in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to establish yourself. You found Vanilla Ice to be a detraction from that effort?
well, not for me specifically or directly, but like just as a fan of the music and the culture. So like I felt like I had to prove myself as a fan sometimes, mostly to white people, by the way. It always seemed like white people, always, because they're always like, oh, you don't like, Metallica or whatever was hot at that time, right? So I always had to like explain why I like Gangstar or why I liked Run DMC or LL, like my shirt I'm wearing, like whatever. I always had to explain it, you know what I mean? So when that dude came out, now those people who were giving me a hard time like that guy. And I know why, because, right here. Right. So I'm just like, you only like the dude because he looks like this, and that's it. So I kind of had like an indirect problem with dude, even though I really didn't hate him, quote unquote. But
so you didn't like the fact that the people that you had to explain hip hop to,
right,
didn't appreciate hip hop for what it was.
There it is. So like for me, like if you like this guy,
they appreciated it once they saw a face like theirs.
Right.
And then they were able to appreciate it.
Right. Because I'd be like, well, you like him? Well, let me tell you about this guy named Biz Markie. Like, they don't want to hear it. Or let me tell you about this guy, like, Kool Mo D. I don't want to hear it. It's like, okay, I see where you're going with this, and that's probably like more of a problem for me. I'm not saying it's a problem for most people, but, I'm
I mean, that's
it's a different dichotomy, right?
It's a reflection of it's a real problem that, again, talking about Hip Hop 50, we still see played out, which is two questions. One is a question, one is an observation. The observation is you look at an Eminem, and you have a bunch of those same type of fans that you're talking about.
Right.
That they're not really fans of the culture nor the music. They're just fans of him because he's a white face on a black thing.
Exactly.
Similar to Elvis. That's not to say that Eminem is not an official real MC. Dude is an upper echelon MC. Point blank and period. He deserves to be getting the props due that he gets. Would he have gotten the props due that he gets if he were Black Thought?
Right.
I don't think so. Right. And I think
that's what Melly Mel was talking about when that list came out. He was kind of pointing that out to people, and some people took it the wrong way. They weren't really listening to what he was saying. Yeah.
And the thing about that with Melly Mel was that Melly Mel kind of did it to himself because he's got a history of being like kind of haterish, you know what I'm saying? And be wanting to get props and stuff like that. I mean, I understand if I was a person that was partially responsible for penning a message, I would expect that, I got my props too all the time. You know what I'm saying? I made blue cheese and I want people to, give me my props due for the work that I did in this community. But I think that it harkens to another question, which is, and I'm going to ask you this question. This would be interesting.
Go ahead.
To see your take on this.
Yeah.
Are white people a guest in hip hop? Now, before I answer, I want you to answer the question, knowing your own experience as a white person that loves the culture sincerely and ethically, right? And respectfully, right? You engage the culture. At the same time, considering the masses of people that gravitated to it because there was a white face on it in the form of Vanilla Ice. So the least hip hopper amongst us, or the cat that's like the least bona fide certified, was what they jumped on, and it was like, oh, this is what's hot. So my question again is, are white people guests in hip hop?
I would say yes, but you're allowed to come in, but make sure you take off your shoes and don't wipe them all over the floor, and treat it like, when you're a guest at somebody's house, and realize that you are in a place that you weren't a founder of, but respect the culture, respect the people who came before you and everything. And, once you're in there, you're good, right? I mean, once you establish yourself as being there for legitimate reasons, as far as doing hip hop music and everything, I feel like then you're more than a guest, then you're part of it. Does that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Funny enough, my pushback would be, I think that white people are more than just guests in hip hop.
Guess is a bad word for it, is what I would say too. That doesn't feel right.
I think guess is an adequate word because I'll tell you why. So here's why I think white people are guests in hip hop.
Okay.
Because that type of hip hop, quote unquote, fan that only likes hip hop because there's a white face on it. So you go into the collection, they got Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem,
Right. Right. The
Public
same
Sparks,
style. Right. Same kind. Yeah.
all basically white artists that they tapping into, right? And then have the audacity to then call those people rap gods or like that they're the best in the world. And because there are more voices in that community in this country, that becomes it almost drowns out. So they do the same thing. It almost feels like they're trying to do the same thing with rock and roll. I mean, with hip hop that they did with rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? Which is to almost eliminate the presence of black people in something that they created. But at the same token, I think about stories that I've heard Fab Five Freddy tell and Melly Mel and some of the cats from the Grandmaster Flash days about how they used to go to the punk rock clubs to perform.
Oh, CBGBs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the places that they could get into and perform hip hop before hip hop was this $1 million big business, blah 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 that you can't get enough of. And this is one of the reasons why when we tease the Grandmaster Flash and the Funky Four, the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, about the outfits that they wore. That's partially disco and partially punk, where they was going to perform to do their thing. And then these places was typically the punk rock scene is typically populated by what we term as skinheads, like the original, like there's two skinheads. There's the racist skinheads, and then there's the punk rock. They into ska music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The punk bands, you'll go in there, they got their whole little look, but they think it's about anarchy. They think ain't about I'm against black people, because I've gone into enough of those punk clubs years after that with my boy, and we was used to go there and have a good time and wild out, and it was all love. It was never no problems. It was never no side looks. It was all just, we out hanging out, and we were welcomed there. You understand what I'm saying? And then when you start thinking about some of the people that were in the creation of the industrial culture of hip hop, like a Rick Rubin, what Russell Simmons was able to learn and glean from him and create with him, with Run DMC is that he managed in Run DMC, Beastie Boys, these are groups that from the outset were instrumental in the spread of this culture, and they was true to it. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very gray area. I think where we start saying that certain groups are against in hip hop, and I think this is across the board. I think you can apply it to Indians. I think you can apply it to anybody foreign.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Canadians. It's not even delineating between the racial component. I'm saying just wherever you from. Like, you're not from here, but you engage in this culture that you encountering. Yeah, you're a guest. So you shouldn't, you should be mindful of how you speak and sharing your opinions, especially if you try to publicly share them or try to share them from a space of as an authority. No, you're a guest and you should keep your mouth shut, because you won't be around in the hard times. You won't be around when it goes back underground for a few years and then reemerges, and that's when you'll pop back up when it's wave nouveau, but you're not going to be when the tide rolling out. You're not going to be there. You're going to only be there when the tide is flooding in and it look like a good thing to do. So I think that it's less of a white black thing as it is,
right,
a fan, a real person who is a part of the culture versus, as they say, a casual. And use a casual, like, that dude's a casual, man. He's out of here, man. I don't want to hear what you think. Right. Well, I think,
yeah, I got you.
You're a guest here. No one cares what you think. You know what I'm saying? I think that, once we get to a space where we could delineate what that means more, I think that answer becomes more apparent. But I just was interested to see what your take is, man. Things considered.
Like in the early days, I've been listening to it and everything since like 85. So I was like 10 years old. I didn't think of it as like a racial thing or a guest thing back then. But as I look at it, but as we go forward and, things have changed and all that, and you have periods of time where, like in the 90s, I always said like Eminem basically undid all the Vanilla Ice stuff. I felt like he set white people back in hip hop music for like a decade. So I feel like there's periods of time where, there isn't like a strong, how do I put it? Like there's a white MC that actually represents what other MCs before and after did. like you could compare Eminem to Rakim, but you couldn't compare Vanilla Ice to anybody out at that time other than like say a Hammer or something, right? So
Right. That was his direct, but see, that's a lot of people don't understand. Vanilla Ice was Hammer, who was the most successful MC
right,
in his time. Vanilla Ice was the counter to that. That was the
right,
white version of that. So he actually was comparable to the best MC, not the best in terms of talent or skill, but the
right,
best in terms of blowing up. He had a great show, all around entertainer.
right.
So they brought on somebody that matched that. At that time, Rakim wasn't hitting like that for that to mean anything, you know what I'm saying, at that point, you know what I mean? Because Rakim had already kind of ran his course. So to some extent, he does do that, you know what I mean? But it just depends on how you look at it, you know what I mean? And I like to kind of, not argue for the sake of arguments, but,
Sure.
sometimes I like to just challenge the notions. Because I think, like, all right, so here's the thing about white people in anything, right? Because of the history, you need historical context, but when you understand the historical impact that white America in particular has had on the world, right? And the people that they have hurt and, and murdered and raped and pillaged and all this stuff, right? There's a sense of entitlement that white America in particular has about everything. So, white America feels like it can travel down to Mexico during the Cinco de Mayo and cut up and just get drunk and wild out without any reverence for the cultural context of what Cinco de Mayo means.
Right.
White America thinks it can jump into hip hop and just anoint, the first white rapper to sound like he's supposed to sound as an MC, and think they can anoint him as the king of hip hop or the god of hip hop. And it's like, yo, you lack reverence. You have no idea, what you speak. And I think that's why most cultures now find themselves very guarded. I just got finished seeing some cats in Hawaii carrying on because they're now guarded against that because they feel like there's a contingent of white America that is more exploitative and more just there for a good time and not there to respect the culture and build on it. And I think it's unfair to cats like yourself who come to hip hop with a true love and respect and appreciation. You could talk hip hop and you could talk about anybody. Look, you got your own show. You're not BSing. You serious. You know what I'm saying?
Word,
Serious
thanks,
about
man.
this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only thing I can say against you is just, your love for Vanilla Ice. But
Stop.
I mean,
There it is. There it is. Full circle. Kool Kim came on here. Couple jabs and then uppercut right there. Bam. Right there.
What the real one is? I'm gonna put you on to what my real plan was today. Because I like messing with you, Mark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I was almost afraid to make that call.
My real plan was, yo, I'm gonna go on to do the interview, but I'm not gonna actually let him ask me any questions. I'm just gonna interview him on his own show.
And I got 21 minutes on the counter here, and I think I said two things. Yeah, no doubt.
I was like, every question that you ask, we'll find a way to turn it into a question for you.
Yeah, man. You just flipped it on me. You made me a guest on my own podcast. There you go. That's what's up, man.
My bro right here, man.
That's what's up, dude. No, and it goes back to full circle what what you're talking about at the beginning. What I was saying too. It's like I see, as a white dude being into the music and the culture and everything. I see how other white people kind of make it disposable and toss it away, and they like the hot person that's out. And that's American culture too. But specifically, what white people I notice is like this, like I like Eminem, but it's like okay, but do you like Nas? You know what I mean? Like it's something like that. I never understood how you could like one artist but completely disassociate yourself from the entire culture and music that also came before and after and during. It's like if I were to like rock music, which I don't really listen to too much, but if I did, I would want to listen to other stuff. I don't want to just listen to what people think I should be listening to. So that's kind of how I always took it. I never understood that.
But at the same token, you got to keep in mind, people don't know what they like, but they like what they know.
There you
right?
go. Good point.
And so, when Living Color came out, the rock band, I was going to gravitate to that because I'm seeing black faces do rock and roll music. So I was willing to give it an ear that I wouldn't have gave if it was the typical tight leather pants, long haired, AC/DC, Rush, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Van Halen, Thrasher, like those, they wasn't going to get my ear because that culturally, did not feel welcoming to me, or I couldn't relate at all. You know what I'm saying? And there was nothing about what they was doing that harkened to me at all, where I could relate to the story of the song in there or whatever's going on. That wasn't in that, you know. But then if you find a living color, and it's like, yo, you vibing to them because they singing cult of personality, you know, sometimes, and for some people, that's the gateway drug. You know what I'm saying? You know, Eminem is the gateway drug for a lot of cats. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I got to shout boy out because, you know, Eminem is an actual student, and from where I stand, he seems to be a student and really appreciates not only the culture and the music, but its foundation and the artists that are part of it. And, you know, so to that ends, you know, he is a gateway drug for a wider audience to us. And so, you know, I think it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? But it's a good, you know, it's a part of the challenges that hip hop has as a world uniter, which it has that capability. You know, a little bit of everybody got a hot 16, man. You know what I'm saying? Every race, religion, you know, geographical location, there's some hip hop there. And there's somebody that's spitting, and he's spitting that shit in their language. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and that's dope, man. That's dope that this is what this little thing in South Bronx, you know what I'm saying, has grown to be. Like that's a true and amazing blessing that we should all be thankful for.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And for it to grow like it has and continues to do, it had to go beyond New York, right? It had to go beyond different races and everything like that, cultures and religion and such. So from your early days before you're part of the UMCs and everything, do you remember like some of your earliest memories of hip hop, music, culture, anything? Something come to mind when you first start to think about everything that's happened?
I think of dances.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I think of dances, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because all right, so before I'm rapping, I'm breakdancing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in Beach Street. I went to the big breakdance contest at the Roxy Roller Rink, and I jumped. I was on the stage when me and my brother had a routine, and I was on there to breakdance and get busy. You know what I'm saying? And I got invited back to do the next thing. You know what I'm saying? And
we all know you got that move. We've seen it. You know, with the UMCs, the flip leg spin. Which I saw you still got it, man. You brought it back. You were showing on Instagram.
That's my Street Fighter Ken Ryu.
There it is.
That's what that is. You know what I'm saying? No, but I think of that, but I also think of, when I say I think of dances, to be honest with you, I think of like the WAP and the James Brown and the Happy Feet and, you know, the Bismarcky and all of those type of dances that we would do when we would go to the park jams, which would be like the summer jams that the city throws, and we would perform at those and like that feeling, bro. I think of my bro Derek's cousin Sharon. She was a dope MC, yo. You know what I mean? But you know, life ain't make that possible for her to come out. But as she came out, she'd have been huge. She was dope, man. You know what I'm saying? 17 years old, 17 with pride. That's my age. Yo, she was nice, right? And I just think of these beautiful moments that are like, you know, like what's the Sandlot or whatever like that, the movie where
the
they
baseball movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, where you know you just like, this is my storied childhood, and I think of when I first got the words to Rapper's Delight. My mother, a police officer, back then they would Xerox stuff that was viral. You did something that people Xerox and passed around, that you were viral. Right. I like the first version of viral. And she came home with a folded up copy of Rapper's Delight that had been Xeroxed.
Oh man,
that was typed out.
That's crazy.
And she thought it was funny, and you know, like it was. She brought it home because it was like a gag, and she brought it over for me to see it. Man, I remember opening up that piece of paper, bro, and it was like it just light shone from off the paper. The words just rose up in the air, started swirling around me, like, you know what I'm saying, like Zelda or something.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying, like yo. And then I was just mystified. I was taken to an entire different reality. And I mean, it was probably my gift and curse, because, you know, on one hand, it was everything, you know what I'm saying? And it's made me the person that I am. And the second, on the other hand, I was trapped in it. Like I can't, I couldn't
Yeah.
let it go. Even at
Right.
52 years old, man, I can't let this go. It's not something that I ever intend on. It's my hobby. It's my passion. It's my talent rests in there. Or one of them at least, but the one I love the most. So yeah, man, thinking about them park jams. I remember I seen the Fat Boys. You know what I'm saying? Had come to Staten Island and performed. You know what I'm saying? And things like that, man, was just like it was amazing, bro. Like I can't adequately describe how the energy that was in the air, and it wasn't so violent back then,
Right.
either. So it wasn't like you would have a park jam and every time it got shot up, every time it got turned out. It wasn't that wild like that. You know what I'm saying? Plenty of park jams is just fun. You know what I'm saying? Just fun. I remember, we used to go to Jones Beach, man. That was a big thing for the Greek picnic. Everybody, Greek or not, would come out to Jones Beach.
There you go.
And then they would have people who would perform on the stage, man. The best of the best in that time would be up there rocking. I mean, those are really amazing. I'll tell you another one I remember from hip hop. And this is one that a lot of people don't remember, but I remember. The walkathon. So they used to have the walkathon was like one of those type of things where you go jogging and you get sponsors, and those sponsors are gonna pay
Right.
money and donate it to whatever the cause is of the walk or the run or the jog, 4K jog or whatever. That was the walkathon. It would be like from Lower Manhattan up to Harlem, or up to up deep into Central Park, which will lead you into Harlem
So
once
it's
you
a
get to
long
the other
walk.
side.
Yeah, there's a lot of miles there, right?
Long walk.
Yeah.
But see, that was where sneaker culture comes in,
There it is.
because sneaker culture and hip hop manifest there because everybody was on set for the walkathon. All the hottest rap acts would be somewhere in the crowd walking on the walkathon. You understand? People be out there with their little tape decks, their boom boxes outside representing. And
What year was
like
this? Do you remember what year this was? Like, what was some of the
it'd be
songs I'd be
I would
hearing?
say it'd be the same year, whatever year Cameo came out with that song Candy.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the heights of the
Yeah.
walkathon. Because
Okay.
I remember I had my first high top fade joint was way up here, man, like up there type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Kid playing had nothing on me, you
There it
heard?
is.
And when I had the high top, and when that high at that point though, it was still growing high. But I was one of the first people that was wearing it. I'm not trying to say I was the first person to have it, but I was like one of the first people I saw. And I know I was because I was at the walkathon, and every time I was walking, everywhere I walked, everybody was start playing that song, "Tastes Like Candy," because
Right.
whatever Blackman,
Larry Blackman,
the,
right?
the, the
Yeah.
lead,
Yeah.
Harry Blackman, the lead
Yeah.
singer, he had that high top.
Yeah, man.
So everybody was playing it because of that. You know what I'm saying? So every time it played, everybody was like, yo, yeah. Like, I do a little something or another, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, so when you were out at the walkathon, wherever you was from, you was trying to get freshly dipped. So that it was like this great trade, like this great
So you want to look good while you're walking. You want to have the right
yeah, so you
shoes,
have
the
to get
gear,
freshly with the best
everything.
sneakers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's how it was in the days. But these things, like the city jams, that the city summer fest type of jams, the walkathon, you know what I mean, and those dances, those different dances we had like that. I think are serious staples in how hip hop grew. Because it provided it facilitated the exchange amongst people, and it made things popular and things go viral. But in this way, it was happening, face to face. Everybody was like bearing witness to it, in real time. You know what I mean?
Man, what shoes were you wearing back then? Like, what were the shoes you needed to get your proper dance steps off? Were you rocking some Pumas? I'm trying to think, what were the shoes of that era that you would have been wearing?
Elise,
Okay.
Fila, shell toe Adidas. Some cats will actually come out with their Clark Wallabies, a British Knights. British Knights was on the low end of it though.
Right.
But British Knights,
I remember Lottos. Were you wearing those ever?
Lottos as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The kangaroo joint,
I was
wisdom
about to
joints,
say
the
that.
kangaroo
Yeah, Walter Payton's. Because I'm in Chicago, so
with
kangaroos were a big deal. Yeah.
with the little pouch on it.
Right.
Lottos was tough because you could take off the patch
Yeah.
and change the colors on the patch to match your outfit.
I
You
forgot
understand
about
what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah, man.
Space Pumas, you know what I mean? It was the black, blue, and the whites. Like, those are the only ones you really could get. And the reds as well. Black, blue, white, and red was the only colors you could really get. Whites was very rare. But the black, blue, and the red joints, that with the navy blue, I'm saying, them joints that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Fat laces, but I think fat laces started kind of, was outmoded at that point. At that point, it was more, you know what I mean? It was more like regular laces at that point, because you was getting into another era of sneaker with like lottos and rules and all of that stuff. Those was different vibes. The Fila, that wasn't a fat lace sneaker. That was just more of it was what it was.
Yeah, and I'm old now, so now I got Asics. I'm trying to find some Hokas, so I can help my feet.
You're just gonna get you some. You're gonna get you some orthopedic shoes in a minute. Wait till a bit.
I'm
It
telling
wasn't
you.
the big story about
Yeah,
it, bro.
man. Don't
You
even.
gonna get the
You probably got them already. I already know. Or put some of those Dr. Scholl's inside the Adidas, right, or whatever.
You gotta get the big black shoes.
I'm telling you,
And
man.
they wear the class. You're like, yo, look, got his one leg shorter than the other, so he got that big shoe.
No doubt, man.
Oh my God, yeah, that's too much,
Man,
yeah.
but shoes are so big, man, because I have Pumas. I have Adidas because of being a fan and being, enthralled with the culture and the music. I've always wanted to have like the new gear. Now I see people wearing Jordan 1s all the time, and I wanted them as a kid, not because of Jordan. I mean, that's a big reason to like him, but because of LL on the other side of radio, he's wearing the black and red Jordan 1s, and I saw that on the album. I was like, I want some Jordans because of that. No disrespect to Michael Jordan. I'm in Chicago. I can't talk bad about my man here, but that's the real reason I wanted Jordans was because of LL.
A lot of cats wasn't sports cats. A lot of people's wearing basketball sneakers and can't play a lick of basketball. I'm one. You know what I'm saying? I can't play a lick of. My basketball game is whack.
Right.
Yeah. They're gonna get mad fouls off on me. Yo, sorry, bro.
You're not messing around with any triple doubles, right? That's not you.
Yeah, that ain't happening on my end. Pickleball, pickleball all day, man. You know what I'm saying? Basketball,
pickleball. Man, salute for pickleball. I just bought a set. I just started playing a couple months ago, man. It is mad fun, dude.
Oh, bro, I told you, right?
You told me like 4 years ago, back when I had you on here, that you played pickleball. Man, I feel in the ankles and the knees a little bit with all the twisting, but it's mad fun, dude.
You know what's crazy about that, Cam? I'll tell you what, though. You will see yourself lose so much weight.
Yeah, that's the big one. Right.
Because you know what? Because, one, you'll go out and play. You'll go out and play. Like, no one's going to have to drag you to go play.
Right.
If there's some games playing and you're going to play for hours, you're going to burn up a lot of fat, a lot of sweat and good time. Depending on how you play, right? Like when you first play, it's high energy because you're running around like a goof because you have no idea what to do.
Right.
It's just all over the place, sliding all over the floor, all kind of stuff.
Right.
But then when you start learning the game and being proficient, there's this point where you're playing and you almost like just stay in one place and play. But then there's another point when you get better than that, and now you're running around again. Right. But now you're not running like a goofy.
No, not yet. Not yet.
You know what I'm saying?
It's too damn hot out here, man. It's like 90.
You got a rate here? You rating yourself yet? What course you play on? Like the 3-0 court, 3-5? Where you at?
Oh, I don't even know the names or anything. They just, by my house, they took some of the tennis courts down and then they formatted them to be pickleball courts. So they're like half the size of a regular tennis court.
Yeah, a quarter of the size. No, it's a third of the size, I think.
Something like that, right? And there's like 8 of them there. Yeah, and there's mad people playing them. I mean, I don't know the technical stuff about how what they're called or anything, but it's obviously like
what happens is like, all right, well, let me give you a hint. Then I'm gonna put you on.
Go ahead.
Figure out what your rating is so that because see what happens is a lot of times y'all newbies, you know what I'm saying? Y'all come on and you don't know how to play worth a crap. Right, but you held back. You feel like you're supposed to be able to play with the top players,
right?
And like you're not supposed to play with us, man. We're gonna hurt you on this court, man. Get the ball over here, man. You're not ready yet. We may come down and play over in y'all courts, and so for a fun time, so y'all can get your game up, get the experience of playing with the higher end players. But you're not supposed to be trying to get in the high end queue. So the high end queue is 3-5 and up. Is the 3-5 and down? Usually delineated by 3-5. Some delineated by about 4-5, depending on where you at. Like if you got some serious players around your way, then they're They had a 4-0 up. They ain't trying to come on that court. Don't you go on that court yet. You hear? You're not ready for
You're
that
not
court.
ready. Don't you
All
dare.
right? Don't go tossing my name around like Kim said I could go. Because they be
shit.
knowing me
There
a
it
lot of
is.
these court.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, no, Kool Kim. No.
Right,
They don't call me up. They'll be like, yo, Kim, you know this dude over here? I'm like, let me see him. Nah, tell him to go on the 3-5 court. Tell him going to tell him going 3-0 court. Let him just he should be in the starters right there.
There it
You
is.
saying?
I had no idea as we talk about pickleball and that there was different levels of this shit. And
man,
it's
different levels,
crazy,
bro.
Yeah, man, and it's kind of like someone trying to pick up the mic. Like, nah, not yet. You go write something first.
Like you could get in a cipher that's happening off stage, in the crowd. You could get in the crowd cipher, but don't try to jump on stage when all the top artists is on there,
right?
And you figure you're gonna get on there with them skitter scatter rhymes, and like, yo, that's not for you. That's a different level, yo. You're not at that level. These cats is pros, man. You're not at that point. You don't stink up the stage,
man. So similar to pickleball, when was there a time when you realized that, all right, I'm not going to be dancing, I need to get on the mic? When did that transition happen?
That never happened.
Okay.
No, because I'm always dance. I'm always gonna dance.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But when did I fall in love with the mic? And that was like, yo, I want to MC. That was when I was going to Art and Design High School, 57 and 2nd Avenue, and in my homeroom was Kwame. Yo, we was in a cipher in the homeroom, and
Crazy.
hearing him rhyme was dope. Like he was like a Slick Rick type of rapper. Like he had that kind of swag.
Right. And he used to run with Dana Dane and all them, right? Back in the day. So that style.
So he had that vibes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so man, you know what I'm saying? He was actually the one who inspired me to write down my first rap. You know what I'm saying? I've been freestyling just off the top at that point, just but that was when I went home and was like, yo, I'm a right. And that's when it got serious. And then subsequent to that, after I left Art and Design, I only went there for a year. But after I left, Kwame came out and Special Ed came out too. And they was like the first young cats really to come out.
Right.
That was dope and making waves. And they're the ones that made a lot of us feel like, yo, this is possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, let me get at that. Everybody else seemed much older to me, even though now that I be meeting them, I'm like, oh, this cast is younger than me. Like I thought Special Ed was older than me. And I just got finished. I just got finished doing a speaking engagement at NYU a week ago, last week.
Right. I saw some of the videos on your Instagram for people listening. They can check it out.
And in that discussion, he talks about, I was that he was 51. I was like, 51. I'm like, holy, what the fuck? Hold on, wait. I'm older than you, yo. I'm like, yo, I'm bugging because I'm like, yo, so I thought you was the old, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
What was his first album? Youngest in Charge, right? So
yeah, I think so.
So there you go. I mean, it goes right. And even for me, like I'm 48, and I grew up on like throw LL for instance. Dude was like 16 when he came out, right? So he's only a couple years older than me. It's like crazy to think about that. I was a young dude watching people like yourself and others. And there's really not that much age difference if you really break it down for a lot of us that grew up in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, so many cats came out in their 15, 16, 17 years of age. And that's why we have people like, Chuck D and LL doing stuff still in their 50s. It's just because they started, although Chuck, I think, started a lot older than most, but for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was older by the time he started doing his thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and I think also though we also was a generation of young people that were still, we would go outside and play young people.
Oh man, I remember that. So, yeah, dude.
We saw that, which a lot of people bug out off of me because I remain active. I'm always doing something off the wall and spinning kicks still at this age and riding skateboards and doing all kind of off the wall, jump out of plane and like that. I don't do it for any kind of like whatever. I actually the thing of that is that, yo, this is what I've been doing my whole life. And so my body is equipped to this. Like it's my body expects to do certain stuff. And there's times if I'm laying down too much,
Right.
I'm getting stir crazy because like, yo, I want to do something. Like I don't want to not, like we want to go out. No, I want to go do a cartwell in the grass real quick and do a back handspring.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
Do a
Like
cartwheel.
yeah, like it's just I got that. Sometimes I get these like, yo, all right. So you have a pet?
I have a couple of pet turtles, but I don't have a dog or a cat. I used to.
Have you ever had a dog?
Oh yeah. I've had dogs throughout my life and cats
are
and
you
stuff.
familiar when your dog gets stir crazy at some point, and y'all will all just be sitting there watching TV?
Oh,
Everything's
man.
cool,
Right?
Ain't no problems going on, ain't nothing happening, and then out of nowhere, your dog would jump up and just make a dash through the house, smash, hitting walls. You'd be like, yo, what's going on? Yo, what's he doing? Just watching him go. It's just going. Like, he's going so hard, you can't even yell at him. You're just like, yo, look at this dude, he's wild. Like, yo, he was.
Right.
Yeah, and then they do their thing, and then they'll come sit back down like ain't nothing happened. Like that's how I get. I get those moments that, yo, I gotta get up and boogie, man. I gotta do something. Like I gotta dance. I gotta, let me. This is time I come out and just be doing a silly dance because this adrenaline is inside of me. I gotta burn it up sometime, or I'll go crazy, yo.
That was part one of my interview, or I should say conversation. I I hesitate to call when me and Kool Kim are doing an interview. It's just us talking, reminiscing, throwing jabs at each other. It's all good. So we'll take a break from Kool Kim for a minute here and play another flashback memory from a past guest. And here's my guy, DJ Real One, talking about his introduction to hip-hop. And on the other side of this, we'll get back into my conversation with the one and only Kool Kim here on the Infinite Banter podcast.
What's going on, everybody? This is DJ Real One, and my first introduction to hip-hop music was when I was 10 years old, and I went to a family event, and I was hanging out with my cousin in the basement, and he wanted to play something for me, and it was a cassette tape, and that cassette tape was Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. So we're down there, and I didn't know what I was hearing. I had no clue. I was just a young boy. All I know is I asked him, can I bring this home with me? And he let me bring the tape home, and I just couldn't believe what I was listening to. We didn't have cable growing up, so I didn't see any videos. All I know is when I heard Don't Believe the Hype, it really changed my life. So that's when I was 10 years old. And after that, it just got out of control for me. I started going to, some other friends' houses in 89, 90. And in Chicago, there was a lot of house music. So hip house was a big thing in Chicago. So I started listening to a lot of Fast Eddie, Tyree Cooper, Sundance. House music is what Chicago was all about. So they would mix the house with the hip hop, and you would hear these guys rap over house beats. So that was really big for me as well, around 89 and 90. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I went to a school dance in 1993. Possibly I was in 8th grade at this point. And my friend Jake, who is now known as DJ Pickle, he was DJing at 13 years old. And what was he playing? To this day, I will never forget it. He was playing Mr. Dabalina, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, mixing it with some Beastie Boys. And this is a 13-year-old kid. That party right there and being his friend has changed my life forever when it comes to hip-hop music. So that's just a little story from 88 to about 93, from hip house to hip hop. Happy birthday, hip hop. 50 years and going strong. Hip hop, 50 years. I'm almost that old, not quite, but I'm old enough to have been able to grow up in this generation of hip hop music. So salute all the pioneers out there, whether it's the Chicago pioneers, the New York pioneers. Much love. And salute Public Enemy and Del the Funky Homo Sapien, two of my earliest hip-hop experiences. Strictly music, no videos. This is your man, DJ Real One, signing out. Peace, y'all.
Greetings, y'all. This is your sister Mystic, and right now, you are tuned in to the one and the only DJ Soundwave on the Infinite Banter podcast. Peace.
Let's get back into my conversation with the one and only Kool Kim, talking about 50 years of hip-hop. We're going to talk about, can he still do that spinning kick, and doing a reunion show with the UMCs, and much, much more. So let's get back into it. Kool Kim, 50 years of hip-hop special edition of the Infinite Banter podcast. Let's get into it. Kool Kim. And it came through, with the music with UMCs, right? I mean, you channeled a lot of that. You and Haas G, you guys had that fun energy, and obviously a lot of messages in those songs too. But was that something you were conscious of when you guys first came out, that you wanted to have like some kind of energy to it? Because there's a lot of different stuff in that era.
I knew I didn't want to do nothing that would disgrace my mother.
Right.
You heard, or make her embarrassed or ashamed of me, right? But at the same token, I was being me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, before we came out, I had danced for Queen Latifah and Come Into My House. We choreographed that, if you want to call it that. You know what I'm saying? Before I came out, I danced for Miss Melody and her video live on stage.
Oh man.
And yeah, I used to win contests and all of that. And I was always a fun-loving dude. In fact, that's what made me able to like become known in art and design, because me and the two other cats that was from Staten Island that was coming there, we'd always have a funny story to tell. And people just like would love, like they would see us having so much fun laughing that it was infectious. And I just always understood that the cat that know how to have a good time is the cat that's people going rock with. Because, everybody just want to have some fun, man. Like, what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, it's unfortunate that hip hop took this turn where the music and the movement were catering to people's tough guy fantasies. But initially it was fun, man. Like the best groups was like Jungle Brothers and Kid and Play. Kid and Play was like, yo, there's a great group, man. That was a dope, fun ass group. Like they make great music. Yeah. They make great music. Yeah. And
yeah, that era, 90s, man, that's what I loved about it. It was almost like a buffet table. You had, if you wanted your street stuff, if you wanted your party stuff, if you wanted your conscious stuff, it was so much to choose from.
A little bit of everything was there. Man. A little bit of everything, whatever you was feeling.
Yeah.
And back then, when you did an album, you had a love rap. All right. This was a standard. Like, we had standards. You had that love rap.
Right.
You had a ladies rap, a romance rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I need love. You had.
These used to be a house record too. It used to be like one house song too.
You had one house, a dance rap.
Right.
So you had to have a dance track on there.
There you go.
Which would have been generally house music or EDM, what we call EDM now. And you would have, let me just get busy. Or in a story rap too. You had to have a story rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so in them days, man, them artists was doing that. They was giving you not only were they were like, hip hop used to be like comic book titles. You know what I'm saying? Like you could get through the Fantastic Four. That's a whole different vibe than the X-Men. The Avengers was a whole different vibe. It was all comic books, and sometimes they would all cross over.
Right.
But each title, man, had its own. Like it was like a bowl of jelly beans or Mike and Ike's, man. You know what I'm saying? It was just amazing.
That's a great comparison right there. I told DMC when I met him at a convention a couple years ago, I was like, Run DMC to me were like superheroes. So I looked at him that way with the outfits and everything. It's like they were like real life Avengers, like real life X-Men, like you said. And that plays into, as a fan, you seeing the way they carry themselves and the way they're dressed. It's like you want to aspire to be like them. And, what you're talking about with just the era, man, it's just, I just have so much admiration for that era, man. I'm just so glad I'm the age I am, because I feel like I grew up in the best time of hip hop. And I feel like that's kind of, maybe that's bogus to say for a younger generation because they don't have it like I did and like you did. But man, I'm just so, I'm conscious of that, Yeah.
Well, you got to keep in mind that for all of us, when we wax poetic about or wax nostalgic about, our eras, we're not so much talking about the music. We're talking about our childhood. So, of course, in our childhood, there's the most wondrous and fantastical times.
Right.
It's age of discovery. Yeah. So for you, part of your age of discovery, that was part of your narrative coming up. So if we talk about your age in hip hop, like, for you to assert, I grew up at the best time in hip hop. I'm like, well, you 4 years younger than me, so you might not have really been hip when, you got that 88 era, you know what I'm saying? When when Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, Dana Dane, Slick Rick, Ultra Magnetic, you know what I mean?
Trust me, I know those, for sure.
Like to be in that time frame at that time.
Right.
Was like to be in that time frame where you're out in it. Like it's not like I'm kind of stuck at home. I ain't really, I'm just catching what they say on the radio. Like, nah, I was there when these cats did this. You're like, yo, I seen the park jam. Like,
Right.
for me, I'm saying, well, that's the best time. But then if you think if I talk to like my dudes at I Am Hip Hop, the game show, my dude Alonzo Taylor, if I talk to Raheem, you know what I'm saying? Raheem, the Ladies Dream from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and also the Funky Four plus one more. He was in the two first hip hop groups. He was a member of both the first two hip hop groups that came out with music like that. So that was his highlight days. Like those are the days. Like it's a different conversation. And what that harkens to is if we start learning again and our understanding that the music has a temporal and a cultural context. So the cultural context is I went down to Atlanta years ago, back when right when it was about to start being called Hotlanta, right before the Olympics hit, the year before the Olympics came to Atlanta first time.
So it's like 96, right?
Yeah,
like
maybe
that.
around that time.
Right.
And I remember they took me to a booty shake club, like, it was Atlantic club proper. Like, it wasn't like a New York Atlanta club. It was Atlanta.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they got the plan. Give me a talking butt and them big old legs. I ain't too proud bag. I get started playing all that kind of stuff. And generally I'd be like, let me get up out of here. But I seen the culture, and then all of a sudden, all that Luke stuff, all that 69 Boys, 95 South, all that made perfect sense to me. Then I was like, I get it. This is dope. This is fun. You know what I'm saying? But I lack the cultural context being from New York. When I think about hip hop, and I be talking about like the different ages, it's temporal, like that time. Like if depending on what times you came in, you know what I'm saying? So if you came in the old school hip hop, the foundation originated hip hop, and you listening to cats, you coming from an era, right, where before people was saying they rap, people was like, yo, let me hear your rap. Like when you was talking to a girl, I'm rapping to a girl. It's your talk game. So your talk game might be, young lady, do you find objection to man of my complexion to walk in your direction for love and affection? That's a rap. It's not, I'm not rapping. I am rapping, but it's, what I'm saying? I'm rapping, but that was the rap. That's my rap. You know what I'm saying? Or just, you say, just whatever. It's just that, to put it bluntly, it's just that shit talk. So what up, baby? How you know how I do it, baby? I just ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I mean, man? So see you later, alligator, all that kind of, that's rap. That's your rap.
Right.
So if that's what you came with, you come up in that era, even if you was a child in that era, you was familiar with that type of discussion, that type of vibes, right? So when you rhyming, and in the first rhymes you hearing is, and I went to the store to get that bread. So the girl over here, that bread. When you hearing that type of thing, right? That's an extension of that rap, which is partially pimp culture, partially just street culture. You know what I'm saying? That was helped to pushed along by cats like the last poets. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, in them times, if you was listening to hip, that would be your favorite. So when cats got true, like a lot of cats wasn't like, even though Rakim called the God MC, a large contingent wasn't feeling them like that. He wasn't all that dope to them. Melly Mel, Kaz, Cowboy, you know what I'm saying? Raheem. Those were the lyricists. Because you could hear them clearly. At the time, nobody understood what was going on. So when you hear somebody, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. But God smiling on you, but he frowning too, because only God knows what you gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So you hear that type of rhyme, my mother could understand that. You see what I'm saying? Boom. Now we fast forward to Rakim. The cadences are now more complex. He takes 7 MCs, put them in the line. Take 7 more brothers that think they can rhyme. Well, it takes 7 more before I go for mine. That's 21 MCs at the back at the same time. He doesn't do it easy. That's how I do it, no man. What? Now you're getting into this more complex. Then you start tapping into Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd. Girls I got unlocked so similar to a prism. In my awesome jam that is causing me favoritism. What? Now you getting that faster cadence. Now it's more like, but we growing up in this, so we understanding it perfectly. My mother's not. So this is the follow point for her.
Yes. Right.
So when you talk about like a Houdini, Fat Boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, the
UTFO. Trying to think of some of the old.
Yes, you know what I'm
Right.
saying. Where these, those groups that had they came from R&B to some extent. They had that
Right.
background of they understand what doo-wop was about, being on the corner singing, which was, you know what I'm saying. They knew about scatting and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So they wasn't foreign to them. So for my mother's era, not my mother's era as much as, but for the cats that's older than me, like that might be in the early 60s, that was the sound. It was a great transition in sound. Again, as now we get into this world that we're in now, this sound is consistent with. I think this sound. Only the reason why I'm curious about this sound being consistent with, even though they respond to it, they don't respond to it the way we responded to our time.
I see you. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the same. Only thing I think that they really hear is the violence and the debauchery or whatever. They're not hearing. I can't say what they're hearing because J. Cole's one of the biggest artists now. Kendrick is one of the biggest artists. Drake is one of the biggest artists. These cats are they're lyrically saying something that people are hearing, and they're relating to it for themselves in these times. We didn't live these times. Like, these times are a little different than ours.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a reflection of the times we're in, right? I mean, that's
it's just reflection of the culture and the time.
Technology, you throw all that in there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's different, man. It's not the same. It ain't the same energy. It don't come from the same place. You know what I'm saying? And so it's gonna be different. Point blank and period.
And talking about energy, man, you guys got back on stage. We saw the UMCs. Yeah. I saw the videos on your IG. What was that like, man? What was the vibe from the crowd seeing you guys? Were a lot of the people old heads that were very familiar with you? Was it mixing with some new, maybe different generations?
People that were familiar with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like more of a family reunion. It was very nice. Even before I got on stage, I almost got emotional because I'd seen people I hadn't seen in years and years. You know what I'm saying? So it was really nice to see old friends and and I think what I really enjoyed, to be honest with you, was the fact that we were able to go there and give a great show, give them a UMC show. A little clumsy, but we gave them a UMC show. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And, we're able to still do that. And so people that had never seen us perform, but had love for the group, people that are fans of me from the now on Instagram and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I rather say supporters of me on Instagram, right? Had never seen me perform, and they got to see that performance within the scope of reason and heard songs that were performed. We did Neverland. We very rarely performed that.
Man, that's one of my favorite songs you guys did, man. That's awesome.
We did Neverland. We did Makes Me Feel Good, You Got My Back. Wow. We did Part of Jive Talk. We did Ill Thoughts. We did
Any Way the Wind Blows. You guys do that one?
We did Any Way the Wind Blows.
I love that record, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was supposed to be the first single too.
Oh, really?
We did Any Way the Wind Blows. Yeah, man. If we did that song first, we'd have been in a entirely different group.
Oh man, yeah, I got the vinyl single. It's the B side to Blue Cheese, right? If I'm remembering correctly, yeah.
That was supposed to be the A side.
Oh,
you know wow. Of course, Blue Cheese and When the Growing. You know what I mean? And so people got to see us do songs that because we really did, like Makes Me Feel Good, You Got My Back. And we very rarely did anything like that. And we did that on there because we felt like those songs that we did were consistent with, where we were in this time. So it was really dope. And then on another part of it that was really special for myself personally, was that Kid Magic Rock, DJ Kid Magic, right? DJ Kid Magic is the dude that did the cuts on When to Grow On. Those legendary classical, the cuts that
man
inspired a generation of DJs and turntablists. Yo, that show that we did just last week was the first time in 30 years, and I mean in the entirety of the UMCs, that Kid Magic got to perform on stage with us.
Wow, that's like mind blown emoji right now, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was the first time, man. He called me up.
Man, I was gonna say, how'd you guys get him to come out? How did it all hook up?
We all in touch. Like that's our boy. But what I'm saying, he was in Columbus, Ohio. So the logistics at the time, we were a big group, but we weren't commanding that kind of price point where we could afford to fly him out from Columbus to where we was going. That was pretty much the logistics of that. But that's our boy. So we've always stayed in touch, and like, that's my man. Like, Dana's my dude. That's my man. He's one of them people, like, you got a friend that you might not speak to him for like 2-3 years, and you get on the phone with him. Like,
there it is. Right.
That's my bro. So make a long story short, we spoke just a couple of days ago. Man, he called me up. He said, "Man, listen, I just need to tell you something." I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Yo, that was just the greatest day, man." He said, "Yo, he said, I ain't trying to put nothing on myself like negatively." He said, like, "Yo, I could just die right now." Like, that was, and I was like, "Nah, son, we got bigger shows we going to do. We got more adventures to come. So don't you rush that. We got more adventures to come, because we going to do it in front of thousands. You heard, before all said and done."
That's so great to hear, man. That he was just like almost like rejuvenated by it, right? I mean, just like the whole experience. Just, you were talking about earlier about doing things that you've always done in your life, and some people might be like, "Oh, you're trying to be young." Nah, it's just you're trying to do what you do, even if you go older in age, right?
It's like, what it is this fallacy of like, at our age, we are what? What you mean at our age? You know what I'm saying? And then at our age, like, yo, fam. Right now, the way I look right now, I look like a senior in high school from back in my day.
Dude, you're not even kidding, man. When you see like these old movies,
you see
stuff.
The old time 70s. I be real students, and they like say, say like, yo, that's a grown ass man. Like, what if he's a junior? Like, god damn. I think that if we take care of ourselves, we got a long run, and I'm gonna live it like I got a long run. I'm not gonna live it like my time is up any minute.
Yeah, man. You brought up something there that I wanted to touch on, because we've lost so many icons in the game, and as we get older, we've seen many people pass, and I think it's important that we look at that as like, you're trying to prolong our lives just because of who we are as human beings. We want to be here. But as far as the culture goes, I also would love to see so many of these icons still be here in their 60s and 70s. And there's been so many in the past that, I kind of get, choked up about it too. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we all try to keep going and keep staying.
When Monkey D passed,
right,
that was the, I got to turn it up moment for me. I'd already been on my turn up mode.
Yeah. But
that was the point where I was like, I'm turning up on all things.
Right.
So, I was 255 pounds around that point. You know what I'm saying? I'm down to 200, 198.
Salute.
You know what I mean? Yeah, thank you. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, increasing my range of motion. I'm in the gym building my muscle up, you know what I mean? So that, I'm going to live a full and productive life. Now, should I pass earlier than I planned? It ain't going to be for lack of trying. You heard?
Right.
It's going to be just, it is what it is. Like sometimes we get in this space of, there's such a defeated space of, that person was doing all this and they still died. No, that person might have been dead 10 years earlier. But for the fact that they was doing all of that. All that they was doing, that's probably why they held on that long. Or, they might have did all that, and they might have died regardless, but what quality of life was they living?
There you go. Right. Yeah.
They was able to jump up and run up the block unfettered. They was able to go climb up a brick, climb up a mountain and, ski right down the joint. They was able to go on adventures with their loved one. Adventures, not freaking, you just going on excursions. We going on adventures. Like me and my wife go on adventures. Let's go here and go see what this is. And so even my wife, I fuss at her sometimes for her to stay on point and losing her weight, because I'm like, yo, babe, I don't want us to get to a space where we can't go and do the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go do the thing. I don't want to go, we're going to take a trip, and all you could do is like just kind of walk around a little bit, then you tired, because we supposed to be running up around and carrying on like we kids, man.
Yeah, man.
And we got it in us to do it. You know what I'm saying? We just got to, you got to train your body for it. You got to stay vigilant so that you if you don't, use it or lose it?
Right.
Use it or lose it, man.
Yeah,
use it or lose it. So, we got to, another thing is I try to be an example in my own everyday living. Like in Islam, it says that if a man builds a well, for as long as people can drink from that well, and as long as it provides sustenance for the community, that man will continue to get blessings even after he's dead. You heard?
Okay.
And I feel like if I live a decent example and inspire people positively with my lifestyle. You know what I mean? People, I speak to people all the time now, man. I'm so encouraged by the fact that the first things they saying to me is like, yo, I be watching you on, yo, man, why'd you do the kick? I watch you do that. I'm like, yo, man, let me get my butt in the gym, man. Let me get my butt in the gym. I see people like, yo, I'm out walking, man. I'm trying to get right. You know, people realizing that, yo, I don't got to just go quietly into the night.
Right.
Well, I think that's a beautiful blessing, man, to give to a culture that give to me so much. And when I say give, it's nothing financial, just things that cultural and, you know, the joy that it's given to me that I just love and appreciate.
Yeah, man. I'm sure the feedback you got on that kick. I mean, even me watching, I was thinking like, damn, man, what am I doing crying about? You know, 'cause I got a 4-year-old, so I'm running after her sometimes, trying to stay in shape, I guess. You know what I mean? To do things that I maybe can't do as well as I did 5-10 years ago. So it's important.
Right.
And when I see you doing it, I'm like, man, well, Kool Kim's out here doing spinning kicks and stuff. The least I could do is, you know, put her on my shoulders and, you know, have a little fun. So I could do that too. All
yeah,
right.
man,
Yeah,
because,
man.
you know, one day, bro, you're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
Period. And you ain't gonna be able to put it on your shoulders like that no more, Ken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or there's gonna be one day that you're gonna, you know, you're gonna really be missing a step, man. You know what I'm saying? 48. You know,
Yeah.
you know how I feel getting out of a
Oh,
car.
man, it's different.
You know what I'm saying? You got
Yeah.
to make that sound.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Those old man sounds when you get up
Them
from
old
the
man
couch,
sounds, yo.
or
Them shits is everyday sounds now.
I do the
You know, but
when
I'm
you
gonna
sit
tell you
down.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, ever since I've been working my range of motion and stretching and stuff like that, I don't really make them sounds no more. I
Oh,
kind of make
okay.
them sometimes out of force of habit,
Right.
but I don't make them sounds no more. And, you know, because I don't like, you know, I don't accept that. Like, I don't accept it.
Got
I'm
you.
not delusional. I'm
Right.
not bugging. In
Right.
fact, I'm quite sane about it. Like, yo, I don't accept that that's my life. I don't accept that that's my story. I tell people, because this happened to me very recent when I went to go do the show in Brooklyn. I hurt my back skateboarding with the dog. She had the dog pulling me while I was on a skateboard. She stopped short. So I had to skip the dog. I go flying over her, roll down a block,
Oh, damn.
you know, get up, yo, boom. You know what I'm saying? My side was hurt. Oh, my side's hurting a little bit. Not nothing really ridiculous. Just a little aggravated. It aggravated my side, you know what I'm saying? Nothing big, I thought. So my wife is like, yeah, lay down, but don't stay laying down because you'll get stiff. So, you know, get up every so often. I took that to mean, you know, go work out with your son. So I go with my son. I'm doing boxing drills with my youngest son. And while I'm doing a particular drill he was running me through, you know, I don't, you know, my back gave out, dropped to the floor, couldn't get up. And yo, I struggled that whole day trying to get it together.
Right.
But it was dire pain. I mean, I went through about 7 packs of frozen vegetables trying to freeze, you know.
I was like, what's some packs of what? Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. And I was in a hot tub
There it is.
intermittently, you know, back and forth.
Man.
And you know, it got to the point that I got on the Instagram live and was like, "Yo, man," asking my fam to like, "Yo, I need some positive energy. Pray for a brother, because I can't believe it." I was like, "Yo, I don't accept this, man. It's not my story, man. My story don't
Right.
go that I just go quietly into the night after 30 some odd years, damn near 35 years of striving to hold on, hoping that one day that I would live long enough that my redemption as an artist would come. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I get another chance to leave my mark on this world. And here it is. We're about to do this show that would be a harbinger for more shows to come, which it is.
Right.
You know,
Man, I hope you guys
now I'm
come
gonna
out
be
here.
in.
Come out to Chicago, man. I'll be there. You say the word.
Oh, you could bet that. You know what I'm saying? I
Man.
just gotta find me a proper promoter, you know what I'm saying, get us
Right.
on it.
That'd be
You know what I
dope.
mean?
Yeah.
And pay that bread. But
No doubt.
the long and the short of it, I was like, I don't accept that this is my story.
Got you.
So I just kept fighting it the whole time, man. And and the next day I wasn't no better. And I was like, oh man, I got real scared, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
man, and I started to despair, seriously started to despair. But, I was driving down and I went live, just bringing up my peoples with me along on that situation. And I remember just talking to them and, just being able to sound off my frustrations and my fears.
Uh-huh.
My conversation elevated to, nah, but it's all right though. I ain't gonna sweat it. I'm not gonna let my ego get in the way. I'm gonna give people a good show. If I was missing my arms and my legs, I still get them a good show. You know what I'm
There it
saying?
is.
I still give it up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's what I do.
Right.
And then I went from that to I ain't gonna despair. I'm gonna be grateful. And I started thinking about why I should be grateful. Like, yo, Why am I hurt? Because I was out riding my skateboard. I'm 52 years old, man, riding my skateboard with my dog, man. We was out there doing. Yeah, I fell, but I fell and rolled up and was good.
Right.
I'm grateful that I can do that. A lot of cats can't even think to, wouldn't even dare put their foot on the skateboard.
No, not at
Much
all.
less ride up and down the block in the middle of the street with a dog. I hurt myself because I was out practicing. My son was running me through drills because he loved his father and he wanted to make sure that I was prepared just in case, because hip hop is an aggressive sport. So you never know what could have transpired. I'm fit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at least I'm a little more ready for doing that would have been. Otherwise, my son is trying to take care of me. Why am I even despairing? Because it was despair because I'm trying to give people this awesome show that I'm about to go do this show with my partner from other years. And, so now I'm starting to tap into this is a blessing. I'm blessed. I'm not stressed. I'm blessed. And I tell you, when I got to the airport, bro, I ended up running late for the plane, right? At which point I seen the writing on the wall. I was like, oh, you just messing with me. No worries. I see what my destiny is. When you have a destiny as big as mine, you're gonna come into difficulty and trials and tribulations. It's just how it is, man. And to anybody listening, you got a destiny like yours, man. You're gonna have to go through the gauntlet because your destiny too big for them to just give it to you for light and transient causes. You got to work for that one, you heard? And so, to make a long story short, man, I'm running to the airport, but I'm running through the airport.
I got you. It's like one of those old 80s movies. You're just like, you're trying to catch it.
But I'm running.
Right.
I couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
And then I was running. By the time I got to the location, not only was I doing everything I was meant to do, I even hit that spinning roundhouse kick.
There it is.
Because
here's my ticket.
I was grateful. I was grateful. It wasn't my best spinning roundhouse kick, but I kicked that joint.
Oh, shit. Hey, man. Did you do one at the show? Were you able to?
Yes, I'm saying.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what
I'm saying. I did that at the show.
That's crazy.
So by the time I got to the show, my body was healed in that time frame.
That's perfect.
The next morning, I was a wreck. No, not the next morning, but the following morning.
Oh, okay. A couple days later.
So the next morning, I was still good, but I still had things to do.
Right.
I had to do a speaking engagement with special ed and Rockness Monster from Boot Camp Clip, Helter Skelter. Right. And I was in good form that whole time. But after that, when we got back to the house,
the body's like, okay.
Like, all right, just giving you your pass is now revoked. Again. Enjoy.
Once you slow down and everything.
Once that adrenaline finally just petered in for a landing, I was definitely landed.
That's good though, man. That's what's up. The fact that you're able to do all that, got the kick in. Got to the show, did the appearance with special ed, and as a fan is watching your videos, man, I was like, I think I posted on one of yours. I was like, man, I wish I was there to see that and just to hear what you guys are speaking on, because you spoke a lot of truth in those videos. And this is a big year, man. There's just so much going on where people are bringing up names of artists and songs and things, and it's just great to see the spotlight put on the culture and the music. And I hope a lot of people are getting their attention that they deserve.
I'm making it a point to make sure that I interject myself into the conversations. I think if it weren't for the fact that I bust my ass to stay, to be somewhere on the stage,
right?
That we would not have been invited to the stage. But again, that's about being grateful. It's hard to be grateful in the face of despair too. I'm not saying that you're just supposed to be grateful and you just like that. You'd be nuts if you could be grateful like that all the time. But small along the lines of being like, yo, fam, I love to do this. I would do this if there was nothing in it for me. 90% of the time, there's nothing in it for me. Yeah. But it doesn't negate the fact that I love this and it brings me joy. And so I can do that first and foremost, and I can do it extremely faithful and consistent. And, so it doesn't matter if we're in the hip hop 50 big banner dealings, we in it. You know what I'm saying? We'll carve our own way. This year I did my Beats and Bars barbecue on March 18th. I actually had a barbecue at the end of the winter. But I did that audacious and crazy, but it was a beautiful event. And so many people came out. We had big fun. Yeah. I did a few shows. I got to, I did a show in for a punk rock group, for a punk rock skateboard park, and it's punk rock groups and hip hop artists, and I performed alongside of them, and there's a bunch of young people, so it was like Ill Bob that that's what I was doing. I had, I got a chance to do. I did a song with Bumpy Knuckles. You heard?
Oh
I
man.
did the voice. I did the voiceover for a character named Fats in a play that Master Ace is playwright of. So I was able to help my brother with that. You understand? I've been supporting like Hip Hop the Game Show, and I do Ultra Mag 7 with the things that they do. I've been supporting hip hop in general. I've done collabs with Cat, on the love, and some people just petition me and was happy to pay my price to come do that work. And I think that, for an artist like me who was obscure not 3 or 4 years ago, you know what I'm saying, that progress is dope. And now here it is. We did the show in Brooklyn, and I'm flying back. I got a show tomorrow in Augusta. I'm flying back to New York on the 11th. You know what I mean? I may be doing a full 5-city tour, 5-borough tour
It's crazy,
in
man.
August. And so, we getting tapped for international joints. They want us to come out to I want to say well, like Eastern Europe sort of nations, and do about 5 or 10 dates out there. So that's a beautiful thing, man. Like, so I
Yeah.
just say that to say, I mean, not to brag, but what I do want to say is, like, to those of you that's striving, and even when people seem like they forgetting about you, they're not showing you love, they're not rocking with you. Stay your course. You know what I mean? Keep doing what it is that you do and stay true to it. Adjust as you must. Adapt as necessary. You understand what I'm saying? But don't get upset. Don't get too upset unless that anger motivates you appropriately. Don't get upset with the scenario. Just keep working hard, stay consistent, keep building your fan base, keep rocking with them, because it may take a long time. I'm 52 and I'm starting to finally see the success that eluded me all these years. I got a new single coming out called "Don't Want to Suck No More," featuring myself and the producer Mark Payne, dope MC and a dope producer, but he producing for me in this capacity. We got a few more coming. I got a new show that everybody likes. It's called Basura that I do on
Hell yeah.
Instagram.
There it is.
I literally, before we got on,
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I was a little late. We got on. I had just uploaded another episode
Oh shit, I
today.
gotta watch it when I turn off here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a thoughtful one. But that's what it is. I create because it's my natural state of being, but I also create because eventually I'm gonna tap into something that somebody digs, and it is what it is. But you just keep doing your thing, you stay true to it, and you allow whatever's gonna happen to happen.
Yeah, man. What you're saying kind of parallels how hip hop got to be 50 years old. If you think about it, it adapts, it adjusts, it's true to itself. That's how it got to be where it is, and how to keep going from here. And
Exactly.
and much salute to you. I mean, like when I decided I wanted to do this episode, I was thinking like, Kool Kim was one of them dudes who came out when I first started doing this podcast. So I had to hit you up, man, and just be like, look, man, just drop some jewels. I'll just sit back and relax and let you tell some stories and talk about. I knew you were gonna take it. I didn't know about the Vanilla Ice stuff necessarily, but I knew you would take it to a whole nother level of just like favorite beats, favorite MCs. Like it's not really. It's about that, but it's not about that. And I'm glad that you're able to take it to another level about all the things we were talking about in here. Just I feel like people be enlightened when they hear you talk about your experiences in the game and your experiences just as a person and going forward. So, man, much respect to you, dude. And Basuda's in the building. Got to check that out.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you.
Sure.
We were talking about shoes. I forgot to ask about the Nike Air Max Hotline joints. You still have a pair of those from the cover?
No,
of,
I'm gonna go buy a pair of them, but I opted not to. And the reason why I opted not to is because those particular Air Maxes were made famous by me, and I feel like
they didn't do you right. They could have came to you guys.
but I'm not gonna go buy your sneakers that I helped make famous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's not a fair exchange. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? It's not a fair exchange. So I'm not interested in. I mean, I think Nike makes a great shoe, though. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? But I wear Adidas more now.
I'm more of an Adidas person myself. But I totally understand that too, man, because I remember that article I was reading some years back, and it showed all the different album covers and different shoe wear, and I saw yours on there. I was like, man, they didn't pay. I think you even told me, like, yeah, they didn't do right by you guys, so they should have done
I mean,
that.
they didn't even, I don't think do right would not been the word I would use. I would just say they just didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. All right. Right.
You would think that even this many years later, when they release the sneaker and people are like, yo, everybody's like, yo, this is this sneaker. Y'all remember this sneaker from this album cover, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You would imagine that somebody there would have been on a swivel like, yo, let's reach out to boy. What is he doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just seem to me like a lot of people just feel lazy about they thinking like, you know, if I was, I'd have been like, yo, wait, when they on the so-so album? Yo, let's get them, man. It might do something
Right.
fun here. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't got to invest a whole bunch of money into it. We might get to do something fun and whatever into that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There
yo,
it
let's
is.
get them back in the same outfits and have them do the picture over.
There it is. Man, I gotta relook at that
But
outfit. What
I'm
was
gonna
that
tell you
outfit?
what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I may actually see when see. All right, so this is where. All right, let me break this down. So when I talk about inserting yourself into stuff, that's why I show you things that I'm doing now was the result of me inserting myself into situations. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not just gonna sit around, insert myself into it. So I may actually go buy the sneakers
I see.
and do a photo shoot of myself in the same outfit
There
for
you
the
go.
most part, and be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Then, you know, and then like, yo, and then just insert myself into it.
Strike a
And you
nerve.
never know what could
Yeah.
happen.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you never know. Somebody from like might see that and be like, yo, that's crazy.
There it is.
You know, because I know cats that got Nike deals as to do marketing for Nike, you know, videos and stuff for Nike because they just did videos for Nike. You see what I'm saying? Like nobody asked them, they just did commercials for them. Like, yo, this is a Nike commercial, this shit is hard. And like, yo, that joint hard, I love it. And Nike reached out to him like, yo, this is hard. We just joined viral. Let's mess with it.
Right.
So I might do that. Don't be surprised if you see me do it.
Hey, man.
Them
There it
joints
is.
expensive though, so if I get some extra money, I'll do it with you.
Yeah, my wife's already mad at me that I've got. I did buy some Jordan 1s like 5 months ago because I never had them.
Oh yeah, how much are those?
They're 125, so it wasn't too bad. But they're not
Man,
like the
listen.
original ones from like it's the ones that everybody's wearing now. Everybody's got a pair. And now they're even like the low ones. They're not even the high tops anymore. People wearing the.
I got these joints right here.
Oh shit! I saw you had them in the video, right? Yeah, those are dope, man.
It wasn't until I got to the register that I realized the dress is $214.
Yeah. Hey man, and you know how it is too on the internet. Like I keep getting like bombarded with like, oh, you bought these shoes. Look at these. Look at these.
I bought them in dope.
So yeah, I bought them online. I bought them Nike.com or whatever.
I wasn't even like the
right.
you know, getting hit with the Instagram ads or the Facebook ads.
So they don't know.
It was straight up, yo. You know, I was at the store. I had come to stuff like, yo, I want to wear. I feel like yellow was the color. I was just feeling yellow, and I was like, yo, let me find something with kind of yellow, and that's how that came
That's
about.
a cool color combo, man. That yellow and like
Yeah,
that maroon
sick.
type color. Yeah.
Yeah, colorway sick, yo.
And that's what it's all about, man. It's fashion, it's music, it's everything, and that's why I wanted to have you on because I know you got a lot of thoughts on it, and those are some dope shoes. And you're gonna make me go look those up, man. But I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble.
You'll be on the doghouse for real. You ain't even got no dog, so you know you better not do that.
Nah, man. The little one. I'm trying to get her some Adidas. I keep forgetting to ask you. Do you still do the shirts, the Kool Kim shirts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
Me and my wife have our shirts, but I think I might need one for the little one.
I'm about to unleash. So I'm gonna announce this here. All right, I'm gonna announce it here in your show, bro.
All right.
So I'm gonna be doing a giveaway for my show Basura. All right. I got an awesome custom sneaker customizer who is gonna do a custom Air Force One, a Basura custom Air Force One.
That's crazy.
So he got the whole colorway set out, everything. So he's doing that, and it's gonna also be a shirt or a hoodie, depending on how soon we get it done, because it probably take about 4 weeks before we're really ready. But yeah, we're gonna do it as a giveaway for the show, and then we're gonna do 10 more sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And and of course, there's a whole package that we're gonna have limited run of that, and it's just gonna be fun. You know what I'm saying? Just a vibe, man. So everybody keep watching Basura, keep checking me out on Instagram. Kool Kim _NY oil, and soon I'll be on Kool Kim MC on YouTube as well, because I'll be bringing Basura over there soon. You know what I mean? So definitely check for all that. It's gonna be dope.
So definitely everybody check out Kool Kim, and you're very active on IG. So everybody listening, make sure you follow Kool Kim on Instagram and see what he's up to, and check out those Basura videos. And when you do the collabs and everything, it's and just sometimes you just speak, you just turn it on and start talking about something. So
vibes, yo. It's like yo, if you into vibes, like if your hip hop is not just fanfare, but it's cerebral and you like the shared experience of being a part of great discussions and a part of the creative process, and, you know, just being able to enjoy it more from just the love of it all. Yo, come see me. I'm on Instagram, Kool Kim _ NYOIL on Instagram, and let's kick it, man. Vibe. It's me that's running that. So I really, you know, I think that it's a really great opportunity right now with the internet for you to be able to engage artists at a level you never could before.
Crazy.
And so instead of like being on your troll time and being silly, yo, come through and really get an opportunity to kick it and learn and vibe and absorb the energy of these artists that you've known all this time, but you never really knew. You have a unique opportunity to do it, man.
Without
And
a
then
doubt.
maybe one day you'll have fans that will be as loyal to you as he is to Vanilla Ice.
Oh man, wait. I was like, "Where's he going with this?" Oh shit, there it is. This dude, Kool Kim, you're crazy, man.
Man, well, thanks for having me, King.
No, man, it was an honor,
You know the
man.
vibe.
No doubt, man. To me, you're not
You
a
already
guest.
know.
You're almost like a second, like co-host or something, man. So
Yeah, well, especially when I'm interviewing you on your show. I'm
yeah,
definitely a
man.
second.
Yeah, when I go to put this all together, out of the hour 30 I see, there's probably like 5 minutes of me, which is cool. I don't care. Hey, nobody's turning this on to listen
It's
to
all
me.
right. They hear you every time, so it's good that, you know, it's something different.
They're gonna be
you know
like,
what
"Oh
I'm saying?
shit, he's not talking on this one. Good. All right, I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with it. I'm not turn him off this time."
Yeah, I can actually hear what the artists is talking about. Also, and you know, sometimes you just get with these artists, they got something to say, but they're not.
Oh man,
They're
yeah.
not talking. I'm long winded, so I'll talk you.
Yeah, you're the other way. You know, I've had some on here that's like,
yeah.
it's like, man, it's all right. You know, it's you don't want to talk about your album. It's cool with me, but
Like, do you want to talk about anything? It's like, yeah, I'm just, you know, it's like, all right,
right.
Man. No, I mean, I got plenty to talk about.
No, I knew.
Yeah,
I knew
I'm
already.
restraining myself right now.
There it is, man. He hasn't even hit the tip of the vanilla iceberg yet, so we're not
Yeah,
even. He's not even there yet. He's.
Not even at the tip yet. Yeah,
No,
you know,
man.
what's up, bro?
Not even a doubt, man. Kool Kim, man. Much appreciation for you coming through here and helping me do this special episode. And all I'm trying to do is just, you know, show my appreciation for the culture and the music, and having people like yourself on here just drop those jewels and those stories, man. And mad salute for sure, man.
That's what's up, fam. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, King.
You got it, Kool Kim. No doubt. Kool Kim's in the building. Go follow him online. Check out Basuda and all that other stuff he's doing, man.
Yeah.
Big up, new music, everything. And hopefully the town near you. That's what I'm waiting for. No doubt.
Yeah.
Always a great time talking to Kool Kim. We always be jabbing each other about that Vanilla Ice stuff. So mad salute to Kool Kim coming on here, giving some insight on the early days of his time growing up in the culture and the music, forming the UMCs, and what he's got going on coming next. So you tuned into the Infinite Banter podcast, 50 years of hip-hop anniversary special. And as you heard throughout the show, I've had different past guests come on here, like Kool Rock Ski and Kool Kim, but I've also had some past guests send in 2 or 3 minutes of their first memories of hip-hop music and culture. I've had Musik G on here, had DJ Real One. Go out to Coney Island, my man Sham from Sham and Mr. He chimed in with this about his earliest memories of hip-hop music and culture growing up in Coney Island. What up, Sham?
This is Coney Island's own Decept icon, Shamrock of the group Sham and the Professor. Salute to my brother DJ Soundwave, and salute the Infinite Banter podcast, and happy 50th birthday to hip hop. What was great for me is growing up when the 4 elements of hip hop were in effect. You know, you didn't have to struggle to go out and see them. They were right there as soon as you stepped outside. I think the earliest one that I remember from the early 70s was graffiti being the first element that I was exposed to. My uncle wrote Clyde. He was a big writer out of Coney Island, and you know, him and his boys did that. So that was the first I was exposed to. I did it myself. I was into it more because I like racking paint. You know, stealing was was more fun than the graffiti for me. But anyways, you know, and then DJing obviously came in, you know, behind that, and seeing guys like my man Kenny Ken, who just actually passed away this week, man, rest in peace. Backspin King, DJ Kenny Ken from Coney Island. Just seeing him early on do tricks with his arms tied behind his back, or just tricks, you know, cutting, backspinning under the legs. all kind of crazy shit. Then I would say, rapping started coming in little by little. The breakdancing, was amazing because you went outside. There was cats with cardboard and linoleum, and just it was weird because like the fighting, the gang shit had like stopped, and cats were battling and dancing. It was like, like what you would later see in like a Michael Jackson video was like really going on in the street. Like cats, and if you see cats up rock, they look like they fighting, but they dancing. And so it was just weird to see like some of the toughest dudes, and now we're just breaking, you know what I mean? And dancing against each other. It was good, but it was a great thing, man. Bambaata's vision was amazing. And then, my biggest thing is obviously the rap element of it, the MCing part, which obviously came early, Curtis Blow, Sugar Hill, gang. But my life-changing moment and my greatest hip-hop memory is hearing Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Melly Mel doing The Message. And, just like, oh my God, I can't. It was just so life-changing for me, just hearing songs about what was actually going on around me in the streets of Coney Island and in the city. It was definitely amazing. And actually, thank God, my greatest hip-hop moment was probably getting to play the Disco Fever in the South Bronx and getting crowned hip-hop by Melly Mel and having Melly Mel come out and introduce me and fucking most amazing experience of my life. And I always love Mel because of that. So salute Infinite Banter Podcast, Coney Island out. Peace.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's the monarch of the Subterranean, legendary lethal lyricist, the massive craftsman, Percy P. You're listening to Infinite Banter with DJ Soundwave, y'all. Boom.
So I wanted to play another clip from a past guest I've had on. So DJ Chill Will from legendary Get Fresh crew, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, Barry B, he was on the show about 2 years ago. And I'd mentioned to him that one of my earliest memories of hip-hop music, and probably the first song that really was a jump-off point for me, was Lottie Dottie. I remember some kid had it around the way, and he told me about it. After I heard that song, I really did try to hear other music from other artists in the genre, and Lottie Dottie was a really big song for me personally, and I had to let Chill Will know right off the top of the interview that I did with him that, how big of a song that was for me. So here's a clip from me talking with Chill Will from a couple years ago on the Infinite Banter podcast, talking about the jump-off point for me personally, and for a lot of us, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, the Get Fresh crew, Lottie Dottie. The whole reason why I like hip-hop music is because of Lottie Dottie. I mean, that's the song.
Wow.
That's the jump-off point for me. I was like 10 years old when that joint came out, and I might have heard the clean version. I'm not sure which version I heard first, but...
Right.
That's why that's where it all started for me, man.
Wow. And before we put Lottie Dottie out, we had been doing it for over like maybe a year before we even put it on record.
Really? Yeah.
So we started not to put that on record. Our manager made us put that on record. He was like, you got to put that on. Yeah, I've been doing it so long. You might as well make it a song. Because we had just did it in live shows. We never did it on. We had no plans on putting it on record.
Just thinking of the concept of having no instrumentation whatsoever, just beatbox and rapping on a. It just. Well, I'm sure you guys didn't really think about it at the time, but it's revolutionary if you think about it.
Right. Exactly. It was crazy.
Yeah, and like you said, it was something you guys did on stage, and then to put it on a record, and then of course the rest is history, right?
It just took a life of its own, because we would see the reaction from it live on, when we did it live, but when we started recording, we never even thought about putting that on a record, And he said, just record it, and we like it, we like it. We don't like it, we don't like it, and it came out good. So we were like, let's go.
Yeah, the early days of hip hop. That's a lot of it. I mean, a lot of those songs back then. I mean, I have to imagine that's some of the similar conversations people were having behind the scenes in the studios and such.
Our only regret with that was that we wish we had made that 2 songs, because that was the B-side to the show,
Yeah.
And we was like, they were like, that was strong enough to make. We could have did a whole nother record, with that.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
but
true.
It did what it did.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably the best single of all time. If you think about the A and the B side, I mean, it's hard to argue which is the better song. So, man.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Man.
Crazy.
Yeah, like I said, that song, I heard that and Crush Groove, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. You know, I still like Michael and Prince,
all
but
set.
this is what I'm into now. This is what I'm
Right.
putting the Duran record away,
right.
and this is what I'm into now.
Right.
Yo, what up, world? This is Word from right now. You're checking out Infinite Banter with DJ Soundwave. Make sure you're listening. Make sure you got everything turned off around you. Don't be driving your car. Don't do nothing. This is the most special moment in your life listening to this show. One.
Another past guest on the show that I wanted to get on here to talk about his memories of hip-hop culture and music was the one and only Mr. Hooper out in Sacramento. He's been on the show a couple times and definitely look forward to hearing his thoughts. So here we go. Mr. Hooper talking about his earliest memories of hip-hop music growing up here on the Infinite Banter podcast, 50 Years of Hip-Hop Anniversary Special.
Yo, this is Mr. Hooper. Some of my earliest memories of hip-hop was my brother being on the turntables, spinning whatever new records he got. He introduced me to so much early on in the early 80s that became the bedrock of everything that I was going to do in the future. One of the groups that, I really remember trying to learn their song, their hit record, was UTFO with Roxanne. I remember just walking around with my little Sanyo headphones with the little orange foam on them, blasting Roxanne, the tape, and just trying to learn Roxanne, everything from, Kane Gold to Educated Rapper, may he rest in peace. And then, I was just mind blown by the quality and the different styles, like everything from The Show by the Get Fresh crew with Ricky D, and of course the Fat Boys and their first album. That changed my life. That made me want to be involved in hip hop, first as a beatbox, and then later when I heard Rakim, I wanted to rap. But those are the earliest memories that I have, and it was all so fresh. You didn't get an album every day. People weren't dropping singles all the time. What they dropped, it was, time was put into it. It was quality, and you look forward to it. And quite honestly, I miss those days. But hey, here we are, 50 years strong and still going. Me, myself, I've been spitting for more than 30 years of it. And I got a lot of comrades out there still holding it down. And I tip my hat to the newer generations as well, and what they're doing. Hip hop 50. We doing it.
What up, y'all? This is Acrobatic. I possess the inhuman capabilities, and right now I'm dropping the Infinite Banter with my homeboy DJ Soundwave. Check him out, y'all.
Time for you to leave, assholes.
That is Kirk Acevedo telling me it's time to go, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. But before I get out of here, just want to give a big salute to everybody who contributed to this episode. Been thinking about doing this for a long time, maybe around January. When I saw that the 50-year anniversary was coming up in August, it just seemed like I got to do something special. Let me try to, brainstorm some ideas. And basically what I really wanted to do was just have people who've been on here before just talk about their introduction or their memories or earliest memories, or just something that, they think about the culture and the music, like something that stands out. So I just got to give a big salute to everybody who came on here. My man Kool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys, Kool Kim, Musik G, DJ Real One, Sham from Sham and Mr, Mr. Hooper, and the flashback clips I played from DJ Chill Will and DJ Lord Jazz. Can't thank them enough for their contributions and really helping this episode come together and being the special episode that it is. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to hip-hop, and to many, many more. When I first started doing this podcast about 4.5 years ago, my goal was, to have a chance to chop it up with artists and musicians and actors or wrestlers or whatever, somebody that I had admired and wanted to know more about their backstory, more about what they're into, things like that. And it's turned also into a chance for me to get to know some new artists and independent artists and help shine a light on their music and let people know about what they're doing and all kinds of things. So, this episode is very special for me. It's something I've been thinking about, working on for a few months here, like I said, and just really excited to have had some past guests come on and give their contribution to this episode. So major salute to all of you. Appreciate all your time and efforts with this. And this was just a lot of fun to do. And it's just a blessing to be able to have a chance to talk to these artists and hear their stories about where they came up with it in the music game and the culture and everything else. So big salute to all of you contributed, and thanks to everybody for checking out this show. Check out the Infinite Banter podcast on all streaming platforms. Rate and review the show. Check out the new Infinite Torture separate episode channel on all platforms as well, with me and Rhinoceros Funk talking about bad movies. Cruel Jaws is up. You can hear that one now, isolated, or if you want to hear it in the last episode with Reno RX, it is there for you. Rate and review the show. Check out the Spotify playlist. Check out the show on YouTube. And follow the show on all social media at Infinite Banter Podcast. All right, once again, big up to Kool Kim, Kool Rock Ski, DJ Real One, Musik G, Sham, Mr. Hooper, and the contributions I have from flashbacks from DJ Chill Will and DJ Lord Jazz. And until I do another one of these, happy birthday, hip hop. I'm out.
Hey, asshole, get off the road.
Being on the Infinite Banter with my man Mark has been a pleasure.